5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
PokerStars announces the World Championship of Online Poker.
$2.1 million.
More than 10,000 players.
33 events this year.
And for the first time, $1 million score. WCOOP 2009. What a
Over
year.
$2.2 million for first. That's
The
insane.
taxi driver who satellited in takes home $1 million. Crown-up guy is the world
This kid is
champion.
1-to-1.
Sean Deeb consistently crushing WCOOP.
What a lineup.
Adrenaline 7105 titles in one series. And it's PT Fisherman who reels in the main event trophy. In its 20th year, WCOOP is bigger than ever and remains the title that every online player wants to win. Welcome once again to the PokerStars Arena and Day 10 of the World Championship of Online Poker 2021. Our cards-up coverage of the biggest buy-in events continues with the final table of 42 high, the 5K 8 max. Hello everyone, I'm James Harskin with Joe Stapleton.
Hello, my babies. James, anybody who knows me knows that the 5K 8 max is by far my favorite event.
Well, so far this week, Joe, we've crowned a super high roller champ. We witnessed Jerry O'Dean win his first WCOOP. He is going to join us on the stream later.
We got Jerry Odell.
Right now, feast your eyes on the latest stats. 121 tournaments played to their conclusion. More than 500,000 entries across the series. Prize money, 44.4 million, with 6.6 million paid to champions. Well, for the stories behind the numbers, we turn to our WCOOP correspondent.
He's got the looks, he's got the brains, he's Howard Swains.
Now, Howard, we caught a glimpse of old NASA in action last night, and I believe he's striking that pose again.
Yes, you are, of course, talking about João Vieira, who is now a 5-time WCOOP champion. He won the 1K 7 max freeze out last night, got himself 65K. It's a really tough final, actually. There was What If God, who was second. There was 2 EPT main event winners, Julian Track and Andrei Patachuk. But Vieira was better than them all. He's now in a pretty exclusive group with 5 titles, including Yuri Martins, Andrei Zaychenko, and Dan Kelly. So, yeah, NASA is back.
Yeah. Any other notable champs from day 9?
It was a bit of a sort of odd one. A lot of big names went deep, but just missed out. So you watched Lex finish 5th, Tonka finished 3rd in his Raz final table. He was actually chip leader 4-handed. And then Luke Schwartz finished 2nd again in the same tournament that Patrick Leonard finished 3rd. So those two guys were beaten by a player called Assad 91 from Argentina.
Near miss for Pads, player of the series. Does that change anything?
Well, it does actually, yeah. Patrick Leonard's now gone back top of that because our min cash monster, Cammy Lansfield G, he didn't cash anything. So, Pads is back top of the overall leaderboard, and it's changing day by day.
And what about Brazil? Are they still in the trophy drought?
They actually are. Something's going on over there. It's 2 days now they haven't won anything. And here's what else happened yesterday, though. Players from New Zealand and San Marino won. That's the first time players from either of those countries has ever won a WCOOP. Hacky Sack 27 and PP the God 90. San Marino, by the way, has 33,000 inhabitants, which is fewer than a lot of poker tournaments have. So that's a pretty impressive showing from them.
That's a wonderful hashtag fun fact. Howard, we'll catch you again next week.
Cheers, goodbye.
Fact, Howard will join us on the podcast this week, recording tomorrow, released on Friday. Here is event 42 high then, 136 entries, 9 players remaining. Elliot Peterman coming in as the chip leader with 124 big blinds. We have got 2 players who've already won WCOOP titles this series, Dmitry Ivanovich and Anatoly Filatov. But NL Profit is in the danger zone. I'll do it myself then. Danger zone, and here's what they are playing for. All guaranteed 20K, 6-figure scores for the top 2, 113,000 for the runner-up, 146 grand for the winner. And analysing the action this evening is Griffin the Unicorn Bencher. Griffin, how you doing?
I am doing great, James. We got the tripod here. We got James, Joe, we got Griffin. Let's do this.
Let's do this indeed.
Oh, nah.
35,000, 70,000 blinds. And just very quickly, as the action gets started at this final table, we don't often do shout outs, but we definitely need claps, ladies and gentlemen, for GJ and Pi, who've just spent 5 hours this afternoon streaming Raz on the PokerStars Twitch channel, and an extra special clap for Tonka, who not only had to endure that final table in real time, then had to relive it on this afternoon's stream. Whew.
Was he playing in it or literally had to do commentary over twice?
He played it the first time and then had to commentate on it the second time. By the way, Daenerys T, the runner-up in that Raz event, Daenerys T is one of the biggest stacks coming into the final table of this 5K 8 max event.
Couple players I definitely have some history playing with. NL Profit, Probers, definitely some regulars in my bigger online periods. They're just so good. Probers. Probers.
I'm definitely going to
You've been
say
taking your Probers on it?
So plenty of players we've seen already during this series. Crazy Lissy, Sam Greenwood, Daniel Smilkovic, aka Smil the Hero.
You know, I actually, it's interesting, the avatar that Daenerys has, I'm pretty sure that that's fake. Like, that she never actually wore that shirt. That's Paris Hilton wearing a shirt that says, "Stop being poor." I just wanted to throw that out there.
I mean, that could have easily been in the last season of Game of Thrones, and it wouldn't have been much worse than some of the other stuff they put on screen.
That and the Starbucks coffee cup accidentally made it into Westeros.
Water bottle, coffee cup.
Yeah.
Paris Hilton.
So Anatoly Filatov, we referenced, is the shortest stack coming into this FT, all in with ace-queen, no action. In fact, those of you keeping track will note we have not seen a flop yet after the first few hands. We've got the chip leader opening here with ace-10 of spades.
Yeah, and I think a very strong candidate for another non-flop scenario.
You know, typically I would say something along the lines of, I'm sorry to see NL Profit so short. He's such a dynamic player, fun to watch at the table. But in online poker, I mean, it's really anybody. Who cares? Can't wait to get back in the live world.
So just a quick word on our chip leader, who's in the big blind here with 9-8 offsuit. Elliot Peterman actually satellited into this event. That said, it was a 1K satellite into a 5K, so high stakes into high stakes. Nonetheless, that will maximize his ROI, which you imagine should be pretty decent with that stack.
Very notable button fold there from Smil the Hero. Ace-7 off into two, stacks that can put a lot of pressure. I think with the actual hands, we probably would have just seen a flat from the 9-8 off from Elliot Pett in the big blind, but certainly not something we're used to seeing a fold of that nature. But if you look at the stack sizes of the rest of the table, you see NL Profit, just $1 million. Bunga Cat with 2.2. Of course, we have Straight Cash Homie with 1.5. So just didn't want to find themselves, I think, Smil the Hero, in a situation where they got exploited. Even Probers with 1.6 million. So very, very sort of ICM specific fold there by him for sure.
We're all going to be ICM experts by the end of this WCOOP. Pretty much nothing but final tables. Not exactly the same sort of style you'll see these folks play on a day one or mid stage.
Joe, you say ICM. I prefer to use its original name, Waciel's theorem.
I don't know if you know that reference, Griffin, but there was a fella named Ron Waciel who, first of all, when we did PokerStars Retro a few months ago. No one gave two flying monkeys about ICM. It was just pile it in as often as possible, except for this one guy, this nitty senior citizen named Ron Wazio, who you wouldn't have known he was even on the TV show until it came time to be like, hey, Ron's heads up.
And we saw someone, the first person in poker history, taking the payouts into consideration and making some tight folds. Hence, Wasiel's theorem, which later became known as ICM.
You kids have to shorten everything. You kids and your briefs.
So actually, with that ace-7 button fold from Smil the Hero, James's prophecy continuing to come true. No flops, I believe we've seen so far on this final table. Very, very strange.
Yeah, it wasn't a prophecy, more just an observation, and I hope it's not a prophecy. I want to see some flops.
It's an observation that turned into a prophecy. Actually, here's our flop. I'm surprised almost, actually. Would have been a decent spot for NL Profit to pick up some chips with a shove. It's so much easier when we're in the booth sometimes and we see that
he doesn't
Elliot
know
is
that
opening
Elliot
wide
has 10-8.
10-8 off. Yeah, exactly.
Now,
But, sometimes it's nice. These small pairs are going to be difficult to play, post-flop, and that can happen right there.
we get a 10 on the turn, and Anatoly Filatov goes behind in the hand. I'm going to ask a favor, Griffin, that with this player, with our short stack player, that we either go with Anatoly Filatov, which is his real name, or with No Limit Profit, because when you just say the letters and profit, it sounds like something else.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I don't. You'd have to spell that out more
I
for
don't
me.
get it, but yeah. Oh, Curling Master wants to know on Twitch if Stapes has any of his stand-up video, something that he could pay to see. No, but if you go on YouTube, I'm sure you could watch some of his stuff for free.
No, Joe famously does not post his material online.
Correct.
Oh, really?
Correct.
Oh, good man.
I like when people come out and support me. They get a babysitter. They pay to park the car. They pay for a ticket. And if they come out and see me, and then it's something they've already seen on YouTube, I would feel really bad about that.
Yeah.
So I actually don't post my stuff online because I have so many cool people come out in person to support. So
Nice. I like that philosophy.
I'm sure it really hurts.
remember.
I'm sure I would get more people to come if I didn't do that, but
Yeah.
Joe, I very, very clearly remember that night in Toronto where I followed you to not one, not two, but 3 stand-up performances in a row, and then we randomly bumped into Griffin at 2 o'clock in the morning walking his dog.
Yeah, that's a true story. Crazy Lissy, great opportunity here for a 2-barrel against Prober's capped range in the sort of like 8, 9, and then other straight draws territory, which are really tough to defend against such a big bet here for, effectively a third of your stack. Prober's with that Queen Jack, I don't think has much of a defense here and has to let it go.
oh boy,
we got
snap
kings
raise
here.
too. I like it. No balancing the
Smilkovic.
timings.
And King 10 defends, Ace Queen 5 on the flop. So Smilkovic 4-1 favorite here.
Actually, a pretty great flop for Daenerys as a sort of, in this particular instance situation. I mean, obviously, if you're against an ace, it's not looking good here with King 10, but you're going to face a pretty small bet against a hand like Kings. Actually goes almost half pot here. And, it's better than being a 10 high flop or something like that. Does call, though, with that backdoor spade as well.
Smilkovic no longer with the backdoor flush draw, just the straight draw.
And should get a free card here from Smil the Hero. You're probably not going to fold out an ace.
Yep, you get what you pay for.
Just-
Free card, 4 of clubs.
And now Daenerys T, I guess, deciding whether to try bluffing this and represent the ace.
Yeah, bottom of your range here. The problem is, you know, you are going to have a lot of missed spades, but a lot of ace X's will call from the big blind here and bet this much based on the action. Once that turn check happens, you're thinking your ace is good when you have it here, so you want to bet big for value. And this is a pretty tough call. You know, a queen wouldn't turn it into a bluff here, so you're really only beating hands like King 10, Jack 10,
Calls.
King Jack with a spade that would call the flop and does call. Nice hand.
Yeah, 2 million chip pot and the celebration of fireworks fired by Bunga Cat. Crazy Lissy in action.
So what constitutes the hero call animation? Because that was like a hero call, right? I guess the pot wasn't big enough.
We gotta warm up.
Yeah, we're just
to it.
warming up. We're just getting started. Yeah, I think it needs to be something really consequential, either a huge pot or for your tournament life, or because I'm bored and haven't got to press a button in a while. It randomizes, Griffin. Randomizes.
It's a sliding scale. Yeah.
This is a very strong, aggressive play from Smil the Hero, electing to 3-bet from the big blind. A lot of players, especially in this chip position, I think would happily call the extra blind and see a flop. But recognizing how strong this move is going to appear to be, you know, you're not going to just want to take some random bluff here. You're going to be pretty polarized, I think, between super strong hands and maybe hands like Ace-4 suited. And Crazy Lissy thought, okay, well, you know, if you have aces or kings here, I don't want to get myself in trouble. So nice pressure here early on from, what was it, Smilkovich? How do you say it?
Smilkovich.
Great name.
Smilkovich. Yeah.
Smilkovich.
Being John
Daniel
Smilkovich. Remember that movie?
Smilkovich.
Smilkovich.
I do,
Smilkovich.
yes.
Smilkovich.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Smilkovich.
Yeah.
Daniel from Filderstadt near Stuttgart in Germany does not have a WCOOP title yet, but is a 2-time scoop winner. And that was a walk for Dmitry Ivanovich, who plays as Colossia.
Dmitry Urbanovich with one of the biggest heaters in EPT PokerStars history, I would have to say. Must have been, what, something around 2014, 15, 16?
2015, 16, Howard alluded to it the other night, was having a phenomenal run in high rollers and super high rollers, and then won the EPT main event in Dublin in early 2016. Has also had a lot of success online and won his 6th WCOOP title earlier this series. His first No Limit Hold'em event. All of his previous WCOOP wins have come in mixed games or in non-Hold'em variants.
Yeah, I remember that being quite exciting to watch because it felt like a sort of almost a laddering up process for Urbanovich. Just would have one big score and then maybe take a bit of a shot, sell a bit of action or whatever he ended up doing, and then kept winning at these higher and higher stakes at the highest. It was just really fun to watch.
So he ran into old Eric Seidel.
Well, that's what I was going to say, Joe. The two clear things I remember from that period were his heads-up battle against Eric Seidel in Monte Carlo 2015, where Seidel just owned him. And the fact that I think Urbanovich said that made him rethink his heads-up game, and then you fast forward 9 months to that heads-up battle in Dublin, where he was playing against Gilles Bernier as a player who had the dominant chip lead at one point, and Urbanovich kind of got the better of him time after time. Yeah.
We are speaking about Colossia for those on Twitch that are asking, also known as Dmitry Urbanovich.
Also known as Dima. Oh man.
Nice river here for Elliot.
Call when you're ahead. Call when you're ahead. River, the worst card.
I think Elliot is going to expect to be good a decent amount of the time here. A check back on this flop looks a lot like the kind of hand Bunga Cat has. But it can also be something like, you know, ace-8 suited might check back this flop against a small blind range. I wonder if Bunga Cat ever considers turning this into a bluff. The backdoor clubs have gotten there. You would hate to lose to a hand like King Queen, like Queen 10 suited. So I think that's where the hesitation's coming from. Recognizing that this jack can't really win based on this action. You know, you think you have third pair on the board. You're like, okay, maybe this is going to be good. Not when Elliott Pett bets the turn. You know, would never do that with another piece of their range, like pocket sevens or something. It's going to be hands like this, and it gets through. Great turn into the bluff by Bunga Cat there.
Bunga Cat. Oh,
Bunga Cat.
Yeah, so Bunga Cat, Yago Alavali, popular Twitch streamer, and also a poker coach for many of the familiar faces on that streaming platform. Finton, Spraggy, Tonka.
Elliott Pett getting a lot of respect here on this right side of the table from some very, very skilled players. We saw that ace-7 fold in the first few hands of the FT, and now Urbanovic electing to fold the pretty strong cutoff hand of King 10 with a decent amount of chips. We're talking 60 big blinds, but thinking, you know what? I don't want to risk getting 3-bet from the button here. Straight cash homie is an excellent, post-flop player. Could shove on me here. I have no, answer to that. So that's, I think, a dynamic to be really aware of as Elliott has, close to 10 million chips like they do.
Well, the blinds have just gone up to 40,000, 80,000, and we've also had the advisory that now we're at the final table. Now we're down to 9. The blind levels will be 30 minutes until the conclusion of this 5K 8-max tournament.
The Lily White luxury levels.
Over. Coliseum now has to worry about Lissy as well. And this is why it's so difficult to open into these two stacks, because this happens and you just have to fold.
Griffin, would you like a
Pretty
hashtag
crazy.
fun fact about Crazy Lissy?
If it's about the fact that Sam's girlfriend thinks that it's a woman and he doesn't have the heart to tell him that it's not, I already know it.
No. This is a new hashtag fun fact, a spooky fun fact. Crazy Lissy was first spotted playing on PokerStars on Friday the 13th of February 2015.
Wow.
And now has the Snowmen's.
Num.
As a huge poker player, Kane Hodder loves poker. I've played in multiple charity events with Kane.
This is
the original Jason.
Interesting spot. Oh, really? That's awesome. Good fold, I think, here from Sam Greenwood, also known as Straight Cash Homie. You'd think it's a good squeeze spot. You have the chip leader opening, the second and chips flatting, but Crazy Lissy's range can be pretty strong here. We see it's pocket eights, which would call, I think, this all in. So I think that's some good discipline from Greenwood, recognizing it's definitely a spot. You can, maybe he randomized here because I think some of the time you can shove, but went with the fold. I think suited, we would have seen it go in from Sam Greenwood. Bit of a precarious spot here for Elliott Pett. If you think you kind of split the range of what you expect your opponent to have here. Hands like pocket eights and nines and tens, but also hands like ace jack, ace queen, ace 10. You do block ace jack and ace queen, so it's a bit less likely. But he decides to go for the big double barrel, and that's just bold stuff. Not a lot of players will do that there. So Elliott Pett really flexing right now.
Elliott making Crazy Lissy their pet. Come on, Daenerys, just do it. Show this table what you're made of.
Just burn it all down, Daenerys.
That's right. The Mad Queen. Get it.
Yeah.
Queen 4.
Chip leader now playing more than 10 million and a raise and take it hand. But gets Elliot Peterman up to 10.4 million. Now it's Bunga Cat with the Snowmans.
Nom 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 nom.
Yeah, and sort of right on the line, I think, for straight cash homie, but now much easier to find a fold. I think this is one of those spots for straight cash homie where you really have an argument to do all three if Lissy had folded. Now that there's been an open, I think that Sam Greenwood's considering this because of the
Ooh, baby.
Very tricky. Very, very, very tricky. And it works. Incredible. Okay. Nice.
Now, Crazy Lissy, once again, with the Snowmans.
Do it, James.
Nom 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 nom.
Griffin, how much of that semi-shove there from Sam Greenwood is based on the player and knowing the player opens maybe a little more often hands like Jack 9 and 10-8, as opposed to, do you think Sam would make that move against everyone at this table? Or is there a little bit of like, okay, this person is a little wider sometimes?
Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head. I think the player has to maybe be in a chip position and very aware of their chip position where they might be more inclined to open. There's other things to consider. I mean, a lot of these players have some statistics on these players and know what kind of tendencies, whether they open more in early position and that sort of thing. So there's so many factors to consider that we can't really speak too much to without, maybe getting inside their head a little bit. But it was a very weird hand because, you'd expect with something like aces or kings or queens, you'd shove there. You have 12 big blinds. You want to keep it kind of balanced so that they call with the hands like the nines and the tens and the ace queens. So it's very suspicious. It happened to be against a particular hand like Crazy Lissy's where he was just like, all right, you know what? I'm out of here. But it was very strange. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So Andres
Always
Namath Pro
impressive.
Bears, one of the short stacks at this final table, has opened with ace king. Crazy Lissy with king deuce in the big blind. Calls,
And I
and
think
it is a king high flop.
I think a great lesson here, James, in, you'll see some of this at the higher stakes level where, maybe in mid stakes, lower stakes, you have 12, 13 big blinds, you're all in with ace king. Well, sometimes, you would have just shoved, everyone folds, you make a, 2 blinds or 3 blinds or whatever it is. But sometimes the big blind calls with a suited king, and here you are with an SPR on the turn of just over 1-1, and you're potentially doubling up because you kept those weaker hands in. Let them defend with those weaker hands.
Yeah.
And if they're calling with king deuce suited, they're calling with every other king, every other suited king, and all the offsuit kings probably up to 10.
I know you're right, Griffin, but isn't like a big part of that hitting a king? Like, that's pretty hard to do. It's pretty hard to hit top pair.
Joe.
Yeah, but you're also getting an extra blind from them calling in the big blind. No, I mean, right. I think you need to respect getting action from Lissy, but...
There we go. Crazy Lissy shoves on Pro Bears, and Andres Namath can call all in here and double up.
Yeah, has to call. Beating too much value here. A lot of king X's. But Jack 9 is out there. Some pause from pro years.
Look how short Anatoly Filatov is now. All in with ace jack suited. Unlikely to get a call from these hands.
Come on, Kippy. You can do it.
Griffin, would you like a hashtag fun fact about Anatoly Filatov?
Absolutely.
He shares his name with a professional Kazakhstani ice hockey player.
Wow.
And here's the weird thing. Here's the weird thing. There is another player at this final table who shares their name with a professional sports star. Andres Namath is also a footballer who plays as a forward for Lamel and is on loan from Genk. Don't know what any of that means, but...
Wow. That's awesome.
Genk is my new favorite city. I think I've dated a lot of girls from Genk.
super tight fold here from Smil the Hero. Again, I think it's very ICM-y. You know, we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 stacks that have less chips. Pretty strong open from Probeers, pretty strong flat from Daenerys. I think
Griffin, there's an ace on the turn. It was an inspired fold. Smilkovic. And time to see what Daenerys T does, having turned top pair. I think
it is a bit
Daenerys
of a weird spot.
Still having flashbacks to that Raz final table.
And now Prober's really only beating the King Queen suited floats on the flop, things like King Queen of Spades, diamonds, or hearts. So it's just a bit too, you're just kind of, just shoved into a suitcase here. You just don't know what to do. You're only beating a very small percentage of the range.
These guys are so good. So good.
Ace Jack for Andrus Namath opens under the gun. We've got Ace King for the chip leader, plus Ace King for Bunga Cat.
Well, Probeers is going to get off pretty easy then.
Yeah, you're not loving this spot as Bunga Cat. You would rather have something like aces, kings, or queens, but there are some 3-bet folds in Elliot Pet's range here, given especially how active Probers has been. So, you just kind of have to get it in here and hope to either get folds, win a big flip, or be chopping. And that's one of the things that should be getting here.
Well, we're chopping it up, ladies and gentlemen. This is a chop pot, and you know what they say. Everyone loves a chop pot. Well,
it was okay. I don't know. I'll let them decide.
Oh, yeah, 6.
Meanwhile, Sam Greenwood has ace-5 suited.
Ooh, sourdough suited. Artisanal.
Ooh, and the up and down draw. Can I just get some constructive criticism on that? Like, where was I in that? Was I behind or ahead?
I forget. I listened to it, but I...
So top pair against the straight draw.
I was late.
Sam Greenwood betting 112k, gets the call, and Greenwood improving to trips on the turn.
Joe, I have to say, James and we discussed this yesterday. Or Monday, rather.
Yeah, you guys crushed it. I actually thought about it late at night last night. Like, thought about you and James, how well you did, like, in the song, and it bugged me. Like, I kind of like, when you're going to sleep and you'll have, like, one thought that, like, wakes you up again for a few seconds. That's...
Jesus Christ. I mean, if that's all you have to worry about in life, Joe, you're sorted, mate.
That is all I have to worry about. My life's pretty stupid.
Yeah. Crazy Lissy with King Queen.
Very interested to see how Probers is going to react here. I mean, we could see a snap fold, or we could see a shove, and really nothing in between.
We could see a long drawn out fold.
Goes for the shove. Goes for the shove.
Nice.
Gets a fold.
Holy. This is a final tape. This is supposed to be a bust out show. This is supposed to be a highlight reel.
Are we literally just waiting for Anatoly Filatov to be blinded out?
This kid's a fighter, by the way. I wouldn't count Filatov out.
So
He is
Abanovich
genuinely
is
one of my favorite players.
King Queen suited and
Bunga
Bunga Cat just flats, and Jack's still good.
He plays anatomically correct.
Oh, can we blank out Griffin for a few seconds?
Oh! Pocket jacks against King Queen of Spades here. Cheeky check back from Bunga Cat in a bit of a tricky ICM scenario. Doesn't want to get check raised and just get it in against, you know, a hand like aces, kings, or queens that might play it that way. So, or pocket tens. Alexa just check back, stay under repped, but doesn't get the nibble from Dmitry Urbanovic. Coliseum is going to bet now, go for some value against hands like nines, maybe ace king
No
high
nibble.
even.
No one's nibbling.
No nibble.
Senkel says, what happened to the Raz final table? Just went to sleep for 6 hours and now it's gone already? Oh, man.
I mean, there's the danger this could really go the distance, the way these guys are playing.
Ooh, love this coolery flop for Coliseum here. Nice little check back. Don't want to get limp raised. So this is a pretty
This is where
ideal
we're at right
result.
now.
It's big.
Calling a pair of queens versus a pair of sevens a cooler.
Well, just circumstantially, it's very, you know, you're going to lose if you're Smil the Hero here and the board remains dry. At least one, maybe even two big streets. So hard for your opponent to have a better hand here. When you have the 10-7, they have to have like a good queen. You know, so many draws you could have facing these kind of bets. Things like 6-8, even 9-8, some diamonds, but makes a good fold on the turn. Says, all right, I believe you. I believe it. All right, I'm out of here, man. I'm going. I'm leaving. I'm going. I'm going.
A lot of slap fighting happening right now.
Yeah. Urbanovic
And
was just
Sam
like,
Greenwood.
Coliseum. Should have saved that for a bust step.
While this is all Greenwood, top pair and the diamond draw, near enough 87% equity.
But
Against a 7. Cooler.
A piece for the pet.
Griffin,
And you're loving seeing that
Please
sizing.
stop.
Yes, James.
if you think
What?
that we can go further than just putting a roasted chicken in front of your face, trust me, we can.
What's wrong with piece for the pet? His name's Elliot Pet.
It's all right, but it's the problem is you're already on 2 strikes.
That's true. James.
So
is
we
just
see
making
we see
sure I
it
know,
winding
yeah.
up for a third one. We're like, you better make it count.
Hey,
Yeah, yeah,
can you take
yeah.
a pitch? Like, just, you know, like throwing it way high and they're just
Exactly.
swinging away. I think the alarm bells are going to go off for Elliot a bit here. This is a very inducey type bet from straight cash homie. Could also potentially even if Greenwood is bluffing, is kind of setting up like a river shove. And you're sitting there as Elliot, you're just thinking like, oh, this is pretty shady. He wants me to call this. Why? Well, he wants you to call because he has top pair and a flush draw.
And Elliot giving this significant thought. Oh, he's not online anymore. We got a disco. He's back and he's
Oh,
called.
does
We've
that-
gone to the river.
Can you run it one more time? I was kind of getting into that.
Nope, because he's back online and is going to be facing a chunky river bet from Sam Greenwood. Could well be all in here, having rivered the flush.
Chunky river bet. Figure out what you do. Chunky.
Oh, not all in. Just 800,000. And Elliot folds.
He's like,
with
if Hardigan's
just a
predicting
7.
what I can do, time to mix it up a little bit.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, we've got ace queen here for the super short stack of Anatoly Filatov. He is all in. And Crazy Lissy with king queen suited might call. Yes, domination nation. Queen high flop, heart on the turn. It's all Filatov. And no limit profit has doubled up to 1.36 million. We are still nine-handed, ladies and gentlemen.
I wonder when he was making that screen name, if he was just thinking like, I don't want anyone to think I'm a losing player here. No limit profit. That's my name. And interesting dynamic here, blind on blind, between Crazy Lissy and Sam Greenwood. The last time they were in this situation, which should be a pretty rare one given how many chips Elliot Pett has on the button, going to expect a lot of raises there. But when have been the two blind on blind scenarios, Crazy Lissy in the first rotation raised about the same size with 4-3 suited and actually got a fold from 5-8 suited from Sam Greenwood. But Greenwood has a little more to work with these 26-ish blinds and does have a stronger hand in the queen 7 suited, defends, and goes for a little bet here, representing this particular texture. Yeah, gonna have some of these kind of hands and wants to take control of the pot. Expects to get called a decent amount here by hands like Ace-X. But, you know, if the turn's 10 of spades, at least you've started telling a story and you can bet again. That's not the kind of card I think that Greenwood wanted. Going to expect a lot of continues from these Ace-X type hands that would have a heart. So, but might just go for it. I mean, these guys are... Oh, 7-ball! There it is.
Got him.
James's favorite.
And ace high and the wheel draw ahead all the way until now.
Now, does Crazy Lissy ever turn it into a bluff is the real question. Kind of hard to represent much.
Hard,
you know, your hand looks so much like what it is. Hard to represent, yeah. And now an opportunity for Greenwood here to try to get some value from those sort of 5 and 6x hands. But elects to check, doesn't want to get limp shove, thinks that Lissy's hand is too much like ace-4, which probably isn't going to call.
Ooh. Oh, we've got 9s versus jacks here. Andras Namath opening with pocket 9s. Dmitry Abanovich with jacks.
Yeah, and I have to say, James, and especially to Joe, I know you guys don't believe in blockers, but Pro Beers is in trouble.
This is different. Not having your outs left in the deck is different than being like, I have 2 9s, so they probably don't have ace-9.
I mean, Namath should just be happy that Coliseum went with the call route. I think on 23 big, sometimes you can 3-bet call here. I like the flat though.
So check on the flop. Namath checking the turn.
Will Coliseum go for a bit of value on the turn? You're never really going to get more than one street here. So do you want to make it on the turn or the river? Decides to go for the turn and quite big. And
just to quickly address Buey22's question. Sorry, Griffin. The percentages do not take into account the folded cards. Hence why Andras Namath is still displaying a 4.5% chance of winning. In fact, drawing dead, called that turn bet. 1.3 million in the middle. Namath with 1.4 million behind.
And I don't think Coliseum
so mad right
can
now.
value bet here. Prober's check calls on the turn here are a lot of queens, which are beating jacks, 10s, which have gotten there on the river. You know, some weak kings even check twice here. So I would be very hard-pressed to expect a bet from Dmitry Urbanovich here. but trying to find the value in his head. But makes the right decision and just checks back.
Well, Andrus Nemeth down to 1.4 million, second shortest stack. It is No Limit Profit Anatoly Filatov, who's still the low man at the table with 1.26 million. And blinds going up in 5 minutes' time as Sam Greenwood raises from the button and takes it uncontested. Zero1234 asks, is there a burned card before the flop? Nope. In online poker, no burn cards.
I do think we should, if we can, give it up for the dealers, though. The PokerStars dealers, I mean, never a misdeal, tireless, never flipping a card, never a discrepancy over which the pot getting pushed the wrong direction. It's just, we're really lucky to have so many great dealers on the team. Really long.
Yeah. Rarely a day off, if ever.
So pocket tens for Pro Bears. Does Andrus Nemeth get any action, though? We've got the Grafton for straight cash homie.
And you have to imagine that Sam Greenwood and Sam Grafton, probably from the same school of thought with a hand like 10-9 suited, but you just hate to open here and get shoves from some of these short stacks. And I think it's going to happen. But you can see how quickly the king-queen was folded by No Limit Profit. That's how tight the range is going to be against this open. You should be opening here pretty strong in Sam Greenwood's situation because of those two shove stacks. So that kind of needs to tighten your range a bit.
It's just the sort of the discrepancy between these guys playing for hundreds of thousands of dollars, super serious, super smart, and then pew 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 with the animations.
Queen Jack of spades for Crazy Lissy. Opens to 184,000, and this could be another raise and take it. 10-3 off in the big blind for the chip leader.
Kitchens.
The Kitchens.
Elliot? Elliot, do we have a clip? Oh, again, another disco.
You still discoed. One more time, James.
I mean, not being
disco.
funny, he's got like significant disconnect time. I'm not going to keep playing it for the entire time that it takes for him to get back online.
There should be a version of the animation that lasts exactly the length of time of your disconnect.
He's back.
Bank.
He's back.
And luckily, disco
folds.
isn't. Woof. Puke.
I've lost my headrest.
Griffin has to do that 200 or 300 more times to get that chair paid for.
How did I even build this thing? Yeah. Okay. I think we're back. Whew. I miss dancing.
Well, what you need is some street flash poker. Let's hope that the poker gods deliver. Let's hope that those dealers Joe's blown smoke up there. Woohoo, let's hope they can give us what we want, what we need.
Street flashes and chop pots.
Tricky Lissy.
They don't
This is
call him Sane Lissy for nothing.
And Elliot, an opportunity to call BS on this and just shove it in, or continue with a call to the 2.1, 2.2x here. I think a fold would be a mistake. You're getting sort of taken advantage of too often if you just always expect this to be the nuts, and goes with the shove like a bouse.
How do they know?
Because it's stinky.
Ace 10 suited opens. Jack 10 suited for the chip leader. Elliot back up over 10 million, by the way. It is Domination Nation. And Ace High is still good on a King 5-3 flop.
Let me ask you, Griff, on that last hand. It's stinky. I get that. Please, I can't even believe I'm asking this. Does the fact that you have king, queen, and you're blocking kings and queens mean that there's like a little bit less chance that you're up against a legit big pocket pair?
Yeah. Yeah, that's you have accurately applied the idea of blockers. Yeah, for sure.
He's been converted, ladies and gentlemen. He has seen the light.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't think that Elliot's going to comfortably do that with like ace 6 off and you know, give up this massive chip lead. I think it is a very player and situation and hand dependent scenario where you can comfortably 4-bet shove king queen off. You know, you're just like, okay, listen, we're blind on blind here. What's he trying to say? That he just like has aces? Like I have a king and queen in my hand. Like sometimes he actually is going to have like jacks or tens and maybe we'll flip. Like I don't buy it. Like I think he's bluffing more often than he has it. And you know, if he has it, maybe I can beat him. It's a good hand to do it with, you know, even though you are dominated by like the top end of the range. You're just like, this is stinky.
Should point out blinds just went up. We're now playing 50,000, 100,000. And at this point, we are going to activate the human calculator. Joe, no limit profit, Anatoly Filatov remains the shortest stack at this final table. How many big blinds to 5 decimal places does Anatoly Filatov have right now?
I know it's 11.3843.
I said 5 decimal places.
I mean, I could do it to 700 decimal places. They're all zeros.
That's good. That's good. Thank you. Thank you.
You still got it.
I could do it to 15 decimal places. 4300000. You get the point.
He's got skills. Meanwhile, 7 on the river. King Jack still good.
Ooh,
Ace
baby.
King for Dmitry Ivanovich.
Hello, Slick.
I feel like every time that you start doing your human calculator thing, Joe, the people at home, like someone will just be watching the stream, and as soon as you start doing it, they'll just bolt out of the room and like go to the other room and tell their whole family, like, you know, like Morpheus is fighting Neo moment. They're just like, he's doing the calculating, and the whole family comes and starts watching it. It's like, oh no, 9-3. Oh no, he needs another digit. He told him 0. Yeah!
You just know there is someone rushing into their front room to pick up their Casio calculator, struggling to get it to switch on because the solar panel's a little bit worn out, and verifying that Joe is correct.
Yeah, and you know, on the back of the calculator, just like a full thing of just like Joe smiling, you know, like.
I'm never even
That's actually
sure
a great
I'm going to be
idea.
able to do it. Every time I'm nervous, right? I'm like, am I going to be able to pull it off this time?
Yeah.
Am I going to? Is this where I finally make a mistake? But
Don't doubt
you're
yourself,
born
Joe.
with it, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have that God-given talent. Please don't underrate it and never question yourself.
I got to stay humble about the whole thing, though. You know.
That's very unlike you.
I will say, Joe, if calculators, like real calculators that we would have in our hands, were actually a real thing, I would put you as like the background, like a phone background, on the calculator. But calculator's in my phone, baby.
So we've got an ace-king raise from Daniel Smilkovic, a fold. We've hit the first break. That means we're putting this 5K on pause. And we're also going to put Griffin on pause. Time to reflect on last night's results. 34M, the 2K8 max, where we witnessed a three-way deal and a win for Jerry Perry Mason O'Dean worth $185,549. Jerry, congrats on the six-figure score and your first WCOOP trophy.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it feels awesome. Like it's been played the WCOOP for the last 7 years and haven't won anything yet. So it was, it's so much fun, and I couldn't enjoy it more. And like the massive support I felt from everyone is just so amazing on every level.
Fantastic. Look, I know there is no such thing as an easy WCOOP final table, but you really had your work cut out for you last night.
Yeah, it was actually amazing. Heads up was like unlosable. Like I made a flush every second hand, and like before that it was just like basically nothing really like too exciting. Just didn't lose pots. Like didn't play many. Played really tight and. Stayed out of the other guy's way and, laddered up and then, put in the work later on when we were 3 or 4-handed.
Talk to me about the deal. Was it as quick and easy as it looked?
I think I'm actually the one like losing money on making that deal if someone is doing it, but there was like so much money. It was so stressful. Like I've never felt like it's been a lot of years since I felt that kind of anxiety from playing poker. It was like pretty terrible while I played it actually. And I was like, yeah, I might lose money on this because, I'm the ship leader. Maybe I lose money because like they have to make some tighter adjustments. But it was just so much worth it. And it was just so like relieved so much stress. And, it was such an enjoyment from there. It was just worth it. And it's just like 5 seconds. They were like, oh, the ship leader is going to take the deal. Like, let's click the button and click it before he unclicks.
So I don't want to get too bogged down in hand histories. You mentioned heads up. It was a lot of flushes for you. You mentioned some anxiety. What was going through your mind when you hit that full house?
like shove. No, but no, of course it's. It was just like it felt like he could like sort of feel bad for him, but kind of not really. But
that's very human.
It's so much fun and like all the like support I got. We actually got I stream for the gambling cabin, which was wrapping on my hat. I wasn't streaming yesterday, but like we put on a stream. Some of my colleagues, and there were over 500 people railing the stream, and like see every time I want a pot, there's like 100 messages in the chat. It's like let's go, and like you feel like you're playing for all of them, and that's why the word anxiety comes from. I think like when you stream, like every emotion you have, like 10x's, like even if it doesn't matter if it's happy emotions or like negative emotions, like everything is just like so intense. And like so when I won, it was like first was relief, and then I just found myself in the break because I was playing a lot of tables, not during that, but I was registering the other WCOOPs as soon as I won. And then in the break, I was like finding myself, I was just like dancing and singing in the break. It was so much like I hadn't felt that way in so long. Like,
I love it.
It's fantastic. So briefly, having had this win, is that going to change your plans for the rest of WCOOP? You're going to play more or less as a result of this?
No. Basically, no. I'm gonna play the same events. I'm playing every day. Maybe having like 1 day off, like except for Fridays when there is no events. But I'm playing the same events. I'm playing most of the high stakes stuff up to like 2K, and I'm not feeling confident enough that a winner in the 5K tournaments, so I'm probably going to stay away from them and not get, hubris or hybris,
Okay.
what is called in English.
Well, we'll keep an eye out for you at the final tables. Jerry, congratulations once again, and thanks for talking to us today.
Thank you very much. This was a lot of fun.
Trophies for all WCOOP winners this year, including at the final table of the 5K 8 Max. Back to the action with commentary from Joe Stapleton and Griffin Benja.
Enjoy that cocktail. You've earned it, buddy. Welcome back, my babies. Yet to lose a player at this final table. 50, 100,000 are the blinds. Payouts on screen. The 5K 8 Max, which, yes, it's 9-handed right now. Just relax, all right? There's a
I've
reason
been
for
doing some cranking, Joe. Don't you worry, pal.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Some big time cranking. Just you watch.
In the words of Paul Thomas Anderson, there will be blood, according to Griffin Bender. Ace-9 suited for Daenerys T. Do you know that T stands for Thompson?
Oh, really?
Daenerys Thompson.
Oh. Like Paul
Call it.
Anderson. Similar.
Coliseum, Dmitry Urbanovic defending, dominated in the big blind. Ace-deuce. Daenerys hits the 9. Continues for 153,000. Pretty weak floating hand. Let's it go. There he
you
is.
are. It's my friend Joe.
Pocket 8s for the Bunga Cat.
Nom 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 nom.
I think. Oh, well, that hand's over. Great. I swear I was going to say something super insightful about that hand, but it's over. Sorry.
Daenerys, don't do it. He only has 18 big blinds. Can't call the queen 10 suited. Your range is a lot worse, as we see. Probers. King 10 suited.
All pretty fun hands to look at. All right, well, Griffin said that there would be blood soon. There could potentially be some fireworks here. Bunga Cat under the gun. Ace King. Oh, never mind. All the hands I thought might.
No fireworks.
Okay, great.
No,
Great.
it's this hand right
Just
here.
folding Ace Jack. Just folding Ace Jack to a single raise. That's how good these players are.
No, that was a red herring, that hand right there. A phantom threat, if you will, like the Paul Thomas Anderson
Wow.
film.
Wow.
Wow, wow.
NL Profit's about to pass the event horizon, which is Paul W.S. Anderson.
We're switching Paul Andersons? Is that where you want to go?
We're going the
I
other
got
Paul
on
Anderson
IMDb.
now.
Oh, you want a Boogie Nights? We'll do this.
You are the master. Coliseum Ace-9 suited. Raise and take it. I didn't have a chance to crank it during the break because of talking to Jerry O'Dean.
Yeah, I
Pocket
actually
threes for Anatoly. Folds them.
I went and got some water, so I actually missed who is Jerry O'Dean. It was a guy. I caught the last couple minutes of the interview. He was a real joy. But what did he win? And what was his screen name?
Jerry Odine is Perry Mason and won the 2K medium event we covered yesterday.
Beautiful. How'd our boy, the guy who finished 5th in the 25K, who final tabled both? How did he finish?
Kowalski,
Listen,
I think
Griffin,
is who you're thinking of.
I breeze in and out. Yeah.
I think Kowalski went out relatively early yesterday, but you can't quote. Breezing in and out is a kind interpretation of what I do. Oh no!
This river
My
is
goodness.
twisted. He cranked it. He cranked it right up.
Twisted is a good word for this. Elliot Pat rivering the ostensible nuts against a very strong hand for Pro Beers. Pro Beer is probably going to need a bunch of real beers after this hand.
Call me Jason Statham because I cranked it. Okay. A little pause from Elliot here. Not considering folding, but whether to shove or call. Are losing to the likes of 6-8, which would have probably called on the flop, especially if a backdoor flush draw was included. Also losing to the baby straight. Which one's that, Joe? Tell the fans. What's the baby straight?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
It would be 63. 6-3.
Also
be a straight.
Losing to pocket fours, pocket kings, pocket sevens.
Pocket sevens, yes. But expecting to get
Not
too
afraid.
much value from potential value from the weaker value hands like 5x, like King 7. But now Pro Beers is thinking, how can you shove here? What are you doing here? Do you ever bluff here? Like, what do you bluff with here? So Pro Beer is very capable of making such a big fold despite having such a strong hand on such a short stack to start the hand. I think Pro Beers is going to put the pro in Pro Beers and find a big professional fold. What do you reckon, Joe?
I think that Pro Beer is a pro for a reason. And Pro
Tell you
Beers
what, though, if he
is
does
gonna get
call
away
and
from
bust,
this.
he's gonna need a drink after.
We did that one
Some
already.
beers. Did we? Damn it!
We did.
God,
we did
why
that
am
one.
I so awkward?
Thank you, Sonic.
Oh, nah.
Anders Nemeth deciding for his tournament life for 9th place. Missing out on laddering. Still would have a bigger stack than Anatoly Filatov. Even with folding here. I think we've seen Nemeth make some pretty close calls before. This
Just
is
let it
such
go,
a
man.
Terrible
Don't
spot
do
to be
this.
in. Yeah, maybe he'll just time
I
out.
cranked it,
Nope,
Joe.
there's
I
the
cranked it.
call.
I shouldn't have cranked it, the poor guy.
Anders Nemeth,
Told you
Pro
I
Beers,
cranked it.
eliminated in 9th in a very difficult spot. $20,153 falls to the hand
No.
of Elliot Pett.
The floodgates are open now. I told you. Now look
Although
at this. Now look at this, Joe. Look at this. This is like the
Filatov
2008 Paul
ladders up.
W.S. Anderson Classic Death Race.
Filatov
Because you're going to
ladders
die
up
in this race,
$4,000.
Prophet.
At the very least, could win this hand, although there's a lot of kings out. And
Oh.
No club for Filatov. There goes Anatoly. $24,481. And now we're down to 7. Like that.
I am inevitable.
Oh, boy.
Oh,
Straight
Grafton
dollar
rule.
signs, homie. Yep, the Grafton rule. Is it in effect?
Grafton rule. And gonna have to get through some pretty medium strong hands that might not let him do it, like the ace-10 and the king-queen. Nice.
Oh, boy. Daenerys attacking Bunga Cat.
No, now we're playing poker.
Hey, this is real poker here.
Short-handed.
The kitty
Hey, this
game's
is real
down
poker.
the street.
You gonna come into my club? Once we get 7-handed, all bets are off. I mean, no, they're on. You can bet.
And does get Bunga Cat to lay down the better hand. Daenerys in second place right now with over 7 million. Elliot Pett in first with more than twice the stack of Colicia, who is in third. Everyone else in not very good shape. Pocket sevens for Daenerys.
Woo! And a very aggressive 30 big blind shove from Schmilde Hero. And it's interesting, Joe, because we've been watching this whole final table and we've seen some really tight folds from Mr. Smilly. But this is a very circumstantial shove, recognizing Daenerys is going to be opening pretty wide. But even towards that strength type hands that Daenerys has, I don't think we'll even call something like Ace Queen there for 30 bigs. So you're just getting that through so often. But it's risky. You got Bunga Cat with less chips, Straight Cash Homie, and Crazy Lissies. So a very, very specific spot, I think, that Smilkovich decided to pop one off, pop it in there.
A potential collision here. Colicia collision. Ace Queen for Urbanovich. Min raises.
I could see Elliot Pett attacking this open from Colicia. Has seen so far on this FT how quickly sort of some folds we've seen against the 3-bets by Dmitry Ivanovich, but actually saved himself, I think, 600,000 by not 3-betting that King 8 suited, because Bunga Cat, big ol' Ace
And
King.
Not the first time Bunga Cat's been in this position, having to get it in with Ace King with shorter stacks out there. The first time it resulted in a chop. This time,
I think this is right on the line for
see a fold here.
Colicia. Really gonna have to think this one through. Colicia turning into Coliseum. I just wanted to see your face that time.
It's kind of my unwritten rule is that you back up your co-casters. And you make it really difficult. I'll tell you that much. You make it really, really difficult, Griff. Because I got to tell you, when people throw me under the bus and stonewall my jokes, it doesn't make for a very good broadcast, but you really make it tempting. Great laydown there.
You're gonna have to break your
By
one
Coliseum.
rule, Joe.
Great laydown.
Thanks, man.
Who would have thought I'd be the one saying let's focus on the poker? But here we are. Elliot Pett raising Ace Jack. Unfortunately for Elliot, aka Elliot Peterman. Sorry, Elliot Peterman. Or Petterman.
That
really.
sounds like a,
Or
that sounds
Elliot
like a
Pete.
made-up name.
Who knows?
Who are you here to see,
And-
sir? Elliot Peterman?
Elliot Peterman. And Sam Greenwood puts in 460,000 on top.
This is really going to test the instincts of Elliot, I think. We've seen the last time facing a small re-raise like this, had the king, queen, and 4-bet shoved. This time, does elect to call. I don't hate this. You know, we can see that it's not going to really work out against straight cash homie's hand, but you know, these people are probably almost certainly watching the stream, which again is on a 30-minute delay. So Elliot is going to be aware the last time that straight cash homie made this smallish 3-bet was with ace-9 suited, and it was actually an earlier position. So I think that's why ace-jack as a selection hand wants to continue, because thinks that can be dominating sometimes and doesn't want to just get exploited by, you know, semi-bluff hands like ace-9 of clubs. But had the
Plus,
kings,
I don't know if you know this, but if Elliot had hit an ace, that would have beaten the kings. So there's that too. Did you know that?
I was reading the Twitch
like
chat. Can you repeat what you said?
It's really not
honest.
worth repeating. Trust me on this one.
10-7
Ooh, look at
off.
this. Look at
Daenerys
all
starting
those-
to get really aggressive.
Look at all those sixes. 666, 5606. And this is a pretty fun little flop. Someone flopped a straight. Someone flopped top pair and a straight draw.
When you said look at all those sixes, I thought you meant like people that had them in their hands. So I like started with Smell the Hero. I was like, oh, there's one. And I was like going around and I just didn't see any more.
And
I was like,
that's it. Oh, they ruined all the sixes. Whatever. This could be a disaster for Colossia.
and that is kind of what you're signing up for. Like that's what you want to get when you raise 10-7 offsuit on the button, just flopping the baby joint. Not quite the nuts, but you know, pine nuts. And Colossia probably a bit too strong not to continue here against almost all sizings. I mean, facing an overbet, you'd kind of, I don't know what you do, but I don't think that we should expect to see a bet anywhere more than something like this, because you want to keep those Jack X's in there. You bet 1.2 million here, and you know, Jack X, Queen 9 and stuff, those kind of end up folding. And you also want value from those combinations that, you know, are not just straight draws, but flush draws. You want to keep those hands in there because you have a straight. Oh!
And the queen on the river completely undoes anything that has happened in this hand.
Can we get James in here, please? Yeah, we're about to, yeah, with the song and everything. Yeah, I can't work with him. I can't work with Joe. No, I don't have to. He's not going to make it. There might be a bet. I don't think either of them are going to fold. All right, Joe.
I'm with you. Murder,
on me, baby. Come on. On me, baby. Come on.
Unreal. This is unreal.
So do you want me to change my timing? Or do you want to adjust to what you think
do what
my
you've
timing
been doing.
Because
do what you've been doing. I'm going to adjust.
You know? Okay.
I will
Steady.
adjust.
Brothers hold. Brothers hold. And take from them everything. It's 300 reference, man. Remember, it's just like brothers hold. No, nothing. They get it.
I remember. I remember. Coliseum raising. I don't know, guys. We don't really. Do we still have to analyze this? It feels like. Wow, we're tanking now. There's the all-in.
Okay, so this is the thing. Wow. I mean, there's a chance, like, he's probably going to call, but it's also like Daenerys is recognizing that he has more King 10s than Coliseum can have. And this is like this, oh my gosh, we might not get a song here. We might
I'll
not
be happy
get a
no matter
song.
what happens.
That will be... Because the thing is that, okay, it does call.
Coliseum calls. This hand ends in a chop. And you know what they say? Everyone loves a chop pot.
Everyone loves a chop pot. Okay, how'd we do? See, in real time, what I heard was that we were right on the money. Oh, you were in front of me again. Oh, God.
I was in front of you. I was behind last time.
No, you just, I can't.
I told you that my,
I can't.
well, I didn't tell you specifically. It feels like I'm a little, I feel like I'm a little more delayed today for you guys than I usually am. Crazy Lissy, Elliot Pet headed to the flop. Pocket fours for Pet. Those are holding for now. Crazy Lissy with just over 2-to-1 stack to pot ratio. And does fire about a quarter pot and gets the fours to fold. No set, no bet. Pocket tens for straight dollar sign, homie.
Sorry about that little break in the action there, guys. I had to quickly renegotiate my contract with Mr. PokerStars. I won't do another chop pot with Joe again. That's not true, baby. I'll always give you another shot. Just kidding. Crazy Lissy. 7-8 of diamonds. Very defendable hand here with the 18 big blinds. Straight cash homie. Loving those tens. So, haven't seen a lot of those tens lately after that chop pot song. A lot of zeros, couple ones, no tens.
Well, we can only hope there will be another crazy action-heavy hand that ends in a chop that we can sing yet again. Sam
I'm going to go a
Greenwood
little
takes that
quicker
one
next
down
time.
despite
I
the
got
two
to stay.
overs. Coliseum with the clangers. King, Kang, Kong.
I like the clangers. That's nice.
King, Queen for Daenerys. Elliot Pet with ace-9 suited. Often takes the more aggressive route with hands such as this.
I have a question for you, Joe. I'm sure you guys have probably already mentioned this on the stream before, or maybe even today. But the amount of kids and pets that have been named Daenerys after Game of Thrones. Do you think that there were any situations because of the poor reception to the last season's Game of Thrones that they actually changed the name of the child if it was young enough, or the pet?
I tweeted something along those lines back when the Game of Thrones finale finished. I said something like, "Hey, everybody, it's not too late to change all your kids' names from Khaleesi."
Yeah, what's the statutes of limitations on that? Like, when do you think like if your kid is like 14 months, and people are used to calling her like Khaleesi, do you think just like maybe like let's just pivot now? What's
Probably.
the line? I want people to vote in the Twitch chat. What's the number of months that you think it's too late? That's their name now.
I mean, obviously, naming your kid after something from a TV show, maybe not the best thing to do while the show's still on the air. We have no idea how the test of time is going to hold up, first of all. Second of all, you can just call your kids something else forever, and then one day they just discover like their name was Daenerys, and you've been just, you know, calling them Rachel. They're like, we're going back to Friends. Pair of fours for Daenerys. A gut shot straight draw now. Spades and a 5 for Bunga Cat. Yeah, see, Filthy Cur named their dog Ned Stark. Well, like this show is going to be on for years.
No, in fairness, Ned Stark, like that's, you know, I think certain characters get a pass. Like his journey, you know, I mean, of course, his presence loomed in the series, but you know, Ned was one and done. If you know what I mean. No spoilers.
I do know what you mean, and that's kind of a spoiler. Action folds around to Daenerys in the small blind.
I really want to find the Twitch viewer that is outraged at the season 1 Game of Thrones spoiler in 2021. And I will not ban you. I don't know, give you something in the thing. A sub or something. I don't know how Twitch works.
Daenerys manages to muscle a win there in the small blind. Queen suited for Sam a Greenwood. Is Dmitry Brnovich going to put on a show for us? Not this time. Turns out it's a minus EV play. Pocket 9s now for Greenwood.
9-9.
Elliot Pett with a suited jack. Everyone's favorite jack. Jack deuce.
Simply the best jack. Oh, Joe, you have the thing? Can you do the disco thing?
Oh my goodness. We have got a bona fide disco. Just in time for the fold. Well done.
Yes.
Ace-4 now for Smil the Hero.
And Crazy Lissy is the
Lissy.
bottom stack here. Might decide to do a little peel skis, see a flop, try to get some equity going off those 11 or 12 big blinds. I don't hate it. But you are doing it against a shortish stack that's going to be raising pretty strong at the cutoff. And that's, I think, why Lissy decides to let it go. Don't want to burn a blind there. Then you suddenly only have like 9 or 10 and you have less fold equity on shoves.
Elliott raising from the button with Queen Jack. Sam Greenwood with a big pocket pair. And does elect to re-raise. Gets the fold from Queen Jack. Ace Queen for Colossia. Makes it 270,000. A little bigger than the min raise. Another disco.
One more time, Joe.
Come on, Elliott. Bunga Cat. Queen 8 in the big blind. Folds. Great fold. Really, really good fold. That's my opinion on the situation. Boy. We could have a blind on blind battle here, my babies.
Yeah, it's not a good spot for Bunga Cat. We're talking around 22 big blinds, and that limp, I think, is the correct move. But the problem is, are you going to play it as a limp shove against the very aggressive Daenerys, or a limp call to protect your stack, make sure you don't bust in 7th when Crazy Lissy only has 10 big blinds? I'll tell you what I would do, because I see the cards. I would just fold. No,
right,
I think Bunga Cat could very easily shove here, and it's happened.
All in.
We're all in, Joe.
Domination
too
Nation,
hard.
2 diamonds on the flop.
Oh.
And that is it on the turn. Daenerys makes the nut flush. There goes Bunga Cat in 7th. $31,623. Everyone else now guaranteed over 40,000.
Lissy, you drop it. Drop it. Okay. Good. Sorry, I had the Jack 10 off there right on the consideration of shoving. That dog avatar really. Now, this is a fun little fair fight. Ace King off against the Jack 9 of Hearts.
Even fairer now. This is real poker where nobody has anything. Who can out poker the poker? Ooh,
JJ
Greek
Lieberman in
grinder.
the Twitch chat?
We got JJ here. Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of that anecdote
Shout
where
out
James
JJ.
said he followed me around, to 3 open mics, and then we ran into Griffin at 2 o'clock in the morning. I believe JJ was a part of that evening.
Oh, yeah.
He's the one that showed me where all the open mics were.
Yeah. Just a disgusting and
Kings for-
hilarious comic.
Both true.
What is this?
Both
This is-
absolutely true.
This is what do you call King Queen again? Queen versus Clang here?
Quing versus
versus
the
Clang.
Clangers.
Oh no!
Yikes. Crazy
I
Lissy in
cranked
really
it
bad
too
shape.
hard.
Absolutely crushed. 1 queen. Not enough queens, unfortunately. Crazy Lissy. Eliminated. Gone. Out in 6. $40,850. $52,000. The new guaranteed payout.
And
I,
out
for
of
one, am going to miss
nowhere,
Crazy Lissy.
Daenerys, the new chip leader. And lost in all the shuffle of this cranking, Joe, is the very expert work from Sam Greenwood that came in here as the second shortest stack on just around 20 big blinds and just kind of floated around, hasn't been all in, saw to as low as maybe 1.4 million chips. And there he is. 3.5
He has
mil.
floated like a
Straight
butterfly,
chill.
but also stung like a bee. There's been some really nice, well-timed, well-executed
write that
moves
down.
from Sam.
That was good. That was
I don't know.
really good. Wow.
Do you think it's good? I've been waiting to roll it out.
No,
I
it's
just
really,
sort of was.
no.
Yeah.
See, this is why I'm so glad your stuff isn't on YouTube, because I feel like you would have already had that out there, and then it'd be like, oh, Joe's recycling, some of his jokes again. But that's primo stuff.
You got to hear it fresh. Coliseum betting with the best of it. Daenerys with a potentially very costly second best hand.
Yeah, and such expert sizing here from Coliseum, but actually getting a fold from Daenerys. Well done.
Yeah, good laydown.
This thing's falling again. I'm just going to shed the skin. Ugh. It's okay. I can sit up.
Couple of King 9 suiteds. We may have another opportunity to get the song right.
Okay, wait. So am I going to go faster now? What's the plan?
I need you to go a little bit sooner.
Okay, I can do
And
that.
I'm going to go a little bit later,
A little
like
bit
half a beat.
later. Okay. Let's do a fun over-under on what we expect the reception to be. I think that we're going to improve to the tune of about... I'll set the over-under on a 6.5 average review score, aggregate.
I'm going to say higher
Do you want to
just
take the
because...
over or under? Okay.
Yeah, I'll take the over.
I mean, we both want the over. We want it, you know? I just think that's the line. The pot is getting interesting, though. This isn't guaranteed.
In a chop.
Yeah, because Smil the Hero, I think, was content as the short stack to check raise and get it in on 955. But now with just the call from Coliseum, I mean, you know, a stacked pot ratio here of about 1.5 to 1. And if you're at home wondering what I mean by that, Smil the Hero with 2.3 million in the pot is about 1.7 million. So I think this has to go... Doesn't all have to go all in. I think we could see another call from Coliseum here and then maybe a check back. So we'll probably still get... They'll still probably play our tune, baby. You know? But might not go all in. But we still do the song. Yeah. Oh, no!
We just got a straight fold, homie. Coliseum bluffs out. Smil the Hero. And
you know, chop pots don't grow on trees, Joe. You know, you think they happen all the time, but what? Twice, 3 times a broadcast?
I take the over on that. Ace 5 for it flops pretty good here. Top pair, gut shot, 1 heart. Coliseum misses. I like this comment from Alex F, who says, Urbana V4 goo. Thank you for your comment.
A lot of people wondering how many buttons I have on my shirt. I'm counting them now. You can't even tell. It's under the camera. 5, 6. 6 are done up. There's only 6. There you go. Now please stop objectifying me. I am more than just my exposed V. Straight cash homie here. 27-ish bigs. Gonna certainly play this aggressively. Question is, will it play as a shove or a 3-bet? I would think closer to a shove in the interest of maybe not wanting to
Sam
get
Greenwood does
on
not like
pair.
you predicting his actions. He is going to mix it up. He is unpredictable AF. And gets the fold from Daenerys. Everyone's sort of slowly backing away from Smil the Hero the way they do with Griffin Benger at a party.
Hey.
We're just going to kind of leave you over here to do your thing. You're going to be the next one out, so we're just going to hang over here
until the person that runs the party comes up to me and says, I think you should leave.
I think you should leave. I think you're going to be the next to go. Thank you. Party's going to wrap up real soon. Everyone's right behind you.
Yeah, just make sure you don't leave anything behind. Wouldn't want you have to come back.
Right. Do you have all your stuff?
Do you have everything?
You always seem to leave something.
Yeah, I feel like you brought 6 beers. I watched you drank about 4. Do you mind grabbing your beers so you don't?
Yeah, you can
come
just
back
take the other 2. It's okay. Yeah, there's plenty.
Yeah, it's fine. Don't. Yeah, plenty of beer without you here ever.
So no disco here, but a time bank for a little out of line. 65 suited re-raise gets the job done. How much did you spend on that shirt at Dan Flashes, by the way? Thank you, Stapes fan, for reminding me. It seems like a relatively cheap Dan Flashes shirt.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
They're actually quite a bit more complex than you think. And I got it actually $150 out the door.
Out the door?
Out the door. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was pushed out the door by, because there were so many people in the store.
Well, you remember that time when your eye was all bugging out on stream? That was from the time you got pushed down the stairs. at Dan Flashes.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. But you remember my shirt that I had on that day, huh? Huh?
Sick. The pattern was so intricate.
I saved up for 2 WCOOPs and a summer series in per diem to buy that shirt.
Got a pair of 8s here. Gut shot for Coliseum.
Yeah.
No longer needs the gut shot. Pair of queens is good.
For Coliseum, you know, you'd love to have a club in your hand on that flop, but even without it, you can always pop off that queen. Still drawing to the nuts with that 9. Feeling good. Now, Daenerys, no incentive, I think, to bet here, but I have been proven wrong before. Don't you prove me wrong. Oh, my goodness.
And again, we see a river to trip situation. This one should not be quite as costly for Coliseum as the King 7 was for Pro Beers, but should cost something.
Yeah, and it's really going to depend on what kind of bet we see from Coliseum. See something like that, I think you're going to induce a raise sometimes. And then you're going to get pretty annoyed because Daenerys could see this as what it is, which is a queen. So sometimes could have bluffs here with a re-raise. But I think this 8 going to be too strong.
This is potentially a gigantic disaster.
Yeah, I just think that if Coliseum had elected to bet somewhere in the realm of, you know, 700,000-800,000, which you wouldn't really necessarily want to do with this hand, but if you had, you would probably only get a call from an ace-8. You're losing to 9-10. You're losing to all the diamond combos that might call the flop. And look at that. Because that small bet is so exploitable as, you know, you can bluff raise that, you know, bet on the river. We see the call from Coliseum and a massive chip lead now at 12.5 million. Elliott and Daenerys pulling away from the rest of the field.
And they are taking a flop, which is jack high. Ace high, the big favorite for now. Daenerys in position, bets a big old portion of this pot.
Yeah, not something we're used to seeing, these sort of 80% pot bets, C-bets on the flop, but wants to put max pressure on hands like ace-10 high that, you know, might think they have the best hand right now, but also it's like, oh, do I really want to get into this jousting war with just ace high against the other chip leader, or do I want to say like, all right, you know, but a bet of 200,000, 250, you know, out the door, you might call it with ace 10 high.
Just want to address this comment from Kal-El. Griffin caught sniffing out the cards, and it doesn't seem too hard. Joe cracking jokes for sure, even if he keep looking for scores on the table without being able to be bad, and nobody listening to him can be sad. Thank you for your comment. Domination Nation situation here at the final table. 5 players remain.
Yeah, it's always interesting, I think, at these super high stakes final tables when 2 players pull ahead. There's can be a bit of this jousting war over who is going to be table daddy, and we saw Daenerys edge out Elliott Pett, making him fold the best hand with that king queen to ace 10. But there, Elliott's like, no. Okay, you need to share. And 3-bet him big with the ace 10.
I see 1 table daddy and 1 table mother of dragons. Folds around to Daenerys T. 85. The Back to the Future hand.
Marty!
Limps in.
It's a kid's Marty.
Smell the hero. Putting up a fight pre-flop. Can you imagine going back in time and being tasked with the mission of making sure your parents bone down? Griffin's like, nah, I do that all the time.
I think about it all the time, actually.
Action folds around to Smilkovich.
Gonna go back in time. Did you watch the Netflix How the Movies Were Made one of Back to the Future?
I did not watch that particular episode, no.
It's great. I mean, you're obviously very familiar with the whole thing about replacing what's his name, but there's a lot of interesting stuff in it. It's really great. I recommend it.
Eric Stoltz replaced, yes.
Yeah.
And Smell the Hero continues to tread water, staying alive in this event, trying to avoid going out in fifth for 52,000.
It's actually my most prized piece of memorabilia is a Back to the Future signed poster by the whole cast. I got
the
it.
whole
I
cast?
might have mentioned this before. Well, most of the I mean, I can go check if you'd like.
Hold on. Just wait. Michael J. Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
Christopher Lloyd.
Yep.
What's Elizabeth Shue?
I'm not sure. I'm actually curious.
Okay.
I need to take a very close. Yeah, but she was such a dream, and then she got replaced.
Thomas.
I think it was probably a scheduling thing.
Thomas.
Crispin
Glover signed the poster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Leah Thompson.
I'm not sure. I'll go.
Roxa wants
check.
to know.
I'll let you know.
Flea. All right. Well, we've got Daenerys shoving on Smil the Hero. Has got ace high. Makes it straight on the turn. That is a double up for Daniel Smilkovich. Smilk. It does a body good.
You know, you want to know where I got it from? that store in Vegas. That store in Vegas that sells all that memorabilia.
The one in Caesars, like in the mall?
Yeah. So you
They're
know
like,
it's
we got a
legit.
live one, guys.
Yeah. You know it's
Get out all the crap.
legit. They sent it to me. It was so expensive. The guy gave me a really good deal, I have to say. As in, like, maybe he was setting me up the whole time for me to think it was a good deal.
Right.
But I'm still convinced it was
He's
a
like,
good
look,
deal.
this is normally $1 million, but I'm going to knock it down to 10K just for you.
Yeah, something like that. He gave me 50% off.
He's like, this is the only one in existence. He just tears a sheet off. Another one's behind it.
Yeah, we nerded out about Back to the Future, and then I was like, this is like probably two times too expensive for me. Then he gave it to me for that price.
Call CS7's faring well here against the pair of fours from Elliott. Lays up for a moment. Check. And for once, it's not a devastating river.
I love how all the Twitch comments are like, too much money syndrome. Photocopiers are great. Meanwhile, this like NFT thing is like taking things way further than like, I don't know, like I'm pretty sure these signatures are real. Maybe not, but it's like, you know, on my wall. Just don't get the NFT stuff. You bought yourself an NFT yet, Joe?
Yeah, but not any of these massive ones.
Is that why you're quiet?
Worth any money?
Secretly love NFTs.
No, I'm quiet because I'm like a fence-sitting douchebag when it comes to NFTs. Like, On the one hand, I get it. On the other hand, if it's a gigantic bubble and goes to 0, that makes sense to me too. Big old flop here, guys. Top pair for Elliott. Flush draw for Daenerys.
And just like we talked about, Joe, the ego battles. Yeah, like they're really fencing here. And a card Daenerys might think gives a lot more equity, but not much.
Not much at all. Pair of 4s now for Daenerys. I mean, I guess the 4 on the river is pretty dirty. $2.1 million in the middle. Very likely to see some more go in on this turn. Jack would be fun, says Messenger DH. Yeah, agreed.
And a stiff wager. Elliott wanting full value from hands like 4x of diamonds. Maybe some... Oof, look at how big this pot is. This pot is bigger than any of the chip stacks in 3rd to 5th.
Correct. Check, check. It's going to go to top pair. Elliott Pet over 14 million. Daenerys still in pretty good shape. Everyone else slowly circling the drain.
And on these 26 big blinds, how is the short stack? Straight Cash Homie, who we've seen play quite cagey on these short stacks. But maybe here we'll just see a shove. But 3 people behind, goes for the 3-bet. I like it. No reason to just put it all in there just because you're the shorty.
Absolute masterclass every time we watch Sam Greenwood play. And Elliott toying with the potential of just putting max pressure on Sam Greenwood, but does let it go. Sam manages to climb out of the bottom spot with that pot. Raising now at 6s. Elliott with a really gnarly hand in the big blind, lets it go. Pocket 9s for Daenerys.
9-9.
Title of your sex tape. And Greenwood defends, catches a 4. Not good for Sam. Daenerys probably feeling pretty good about these 9s. Does check. Likely to feel even better now. Greenwood checks again. This time,
yeah, now you want to
Daenerys
start
feels
getting value.
Yep. Going for value. Sam beating other ace highs. Makes the call. River is a 7. Completes a potential flush draw. What I really like about this, Griffin, and maybe I'm wrong, but Daenerys seems like the kind of player that's going to know to value bet here also.
Yeah,
Like I
and
just
Sam Greenwood is probably
terrifyingly
going to be
check
the
back
type.
here every time.
No, but the problem, but Sam Greenwood is also going to be too good to call a lot of the time too, and the reason that is because Daenerys is not really going to play something like King Jack as a check on this flop. Not going to play something like Ace Queen as a check on the flop. So a lot of the hands that Daenerys is checking are already pairs like 9s, 8s, 7s. So 10x, good fold from straight cash homie.
All right, my babies, event number 42 high is now on break. But you know what wasn't on break when we recorded this action from earlier? The 42 medium event, the $530 Super Tuesday. First prize in this event's worth $128,000. 63 players remaining. The tournament chip leader is none other than Gleb Tremzin, former EPT Prague runner-up. Gleb Tremzin is one of my favorite names. Doesn't it sound like a fake name from I Think You Should Leave? Like Tim would be like,
yeah, it does.
Gleb Tremzin over there. That's Gleb. One of my favorite names in poker, Gleb Tremzin.
Yeah.
That is TI 0783. Excuse me, 0373. Who cares? TI.
It's
The
Tio.
graphing calculator. Trying to steal my thunder.
Lad Park, good opportunity for a strong 2-barrel here. Betting on the flop, of course, with that 9 high flush draw. Now you turn the gut shot as well. I think you're going to want to bet this particular card a lot. You're going to get jacks to be pretty skittish. Fold out some hands like 4s, pair of 5s. Nice hand.
And in the big blind this hand, we've got Krakukra, Konstantin Mazlak, a player we have seen all over WCOOP Scoop Stadium Series. Just an absolute crusher, facing an under-the-gun raise from Capitao 1987. Kurt, what's up? Speaking of NFTs, sporting one of them penguins. Shoves. Krakukra going to be out of the way. Capitao makes the call. Needs to fade the ace, the straight. Now just the ace. And does GG WSOP. There goes Kurt. $2,600. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Now it's Capitao's turn with the ace queen.
And an interesting opportunity for a squeeze, I think, from Capitao here. I think your hand might be a bit too strong to just play passively 3 ways. You're going to expect Lad Park to have a lot of hands like this and Tio to have a lot of hands like that. So let's get more money in the pot. Let's get some folds pre-flop. And so it's going to play as a pretty nice, strong squeeze. You're not going to expect to get a lot of resistance. If you do get a shove from Lad Park, for instance, you just fold. But Tio says, let's party. Let's dance. You put the disco thing on now if you want. No, it doesn't. Someone needs to be discoed. I know the rules.
You can't abuse it.
No, I can't abuse it. But discos are rare, man. You know, at least with the you know, the chop stuff, you get a couple chances. Disco is so rare. You just gotta hope for one person who's getting discoed a lot and just ride the wave and just create a whole party, you know? Ooh. Now, the quarter pot on the flop from Capitao, pretty standard in this scenario. And on that 10, this is the spot where Tio is only beating hands like ace queen, ace king, and pure bluffs. So you're really jailed. And Coles doesn't believe and can
station
Mr. 1987 pull the final trigger. And I'll tell you what, I know this is just the medium here, but if we see a shove and a call, it will be one of the best calls of the tournaments. But waves the white flag. Tio gonna be up to nearly 10 million chips. Now we're playing poker, Joe.
And ship it to the 5s. Tenacity rewarded. Time to leave behind the medium and head on back to the high. Still 5 players remaining. Elliot, Pet, Petterman out in front right now. Sam Greenwood and Daniel Smilkovic lagging. But it's time to sit up straight and button up your shirts because welcome back, James Hardigan.
Thank you very much, Joe, and worth highlighting that even though the 2 shortest stacks are Sam Greenwood and Daniel Smilkovic, they are not short stacked, Griffin. Still a lot of play in this with the blinds at 60,000, 100 and 20,000, 5-handed in this 5K 8 max.
Yeah, going to be a very late dinner for you, James, if you didn't just have it now, because this tournament, I think, is going to go longer than normal with the amount of play involved.
Don't worry, Griffin, I had my 3-course meal. Fine dining for Mr. Hartigan, whereas Mr. Stapleton, as we know, is more than happy to stuff his face with sausage.
Whoa, and a delicious sausage of a flop for Elliot Pett here.
Yeah.
8's full
Flops
of 7s, doesn't get any better.
And look at this, chips into the abyss. Dmitry Ivanovic practically drawing dead, 0.7% equity. And now officially drawing dead.
I don't blame Coliseum for c-betting this flop. It's the kind of board texture that you don't really expect your opponent to be on that much. Maybe if they called from the big blind, but you know, a button flat is going to be a lot more Broadway heavy than it is 7-8 suited. That is certainly a part of the range, and we can see that right now. But Coliseum wants to bet these kind of boards to fold out hands like King Jack and King Queen, and you get a lot of good turn cards with Queen 9 of diamonds when the turn's like 10 of diamonds or something like that. But
well, the blind's just gone up, Griffin. We're now playing 75,000, 150,000. Elliot Peterman with close to a 100 big blind stack. Started this final table as chip lead. Still holds the #1 position right now.
Yeah, and so aware of that advantage. You're seeing the hand selection now from Elliot really opening up. Queen 7 off, not something that we anticipate regular activity from the cutoff, especially at a 5K buy-in level, but such a huge edge over the rest of the field is going to be opening, really, really most hands with all the ICM pressure on those 3 stacks. Look how bunched together Straight Cash Homie, Smil the Hero, and Coliseum are.
Yeah, all around the 3 million mark. Well, this is a 3-bet from Daenerys T, runner-up in last night's Raz. Played a 5-hour Raz final table last night.
Ooh.
Has got the best of it here. Both players flopping top pair. The queen kicker is decisive.
And you're seeing a little stubbornness from Elliot Pett. We talked about this dynamic, Joe and I did just before the break, James, about how these two were kind of jostling for that top dog position on the table, not afraid to battle each other. Elliot, I think, had the edge over the course of that, but right here has him outkicked with that Queen of Diamonds. You can see how big this pot is, James, just from the 3-bet and the continuation bet on the flop.
Yeah, and these two not afraid to play big pots against each other. The 2 big stacks at the table.
I think we'll be hard-pressed to see an actual other bet here. I don't think Daenerys had any reason to bet the turn. That's why we see a check. Getting a little kind of like, okay, what's in the middle now is what everyone from 3rd to 5th has. We don't need to, go any crazier.
Well, another domination situation. King Jack versus Queen Jack. And Dmitry Ivanovic decides to go with it.
Yeah, great awareness there from Coliseum. It's not the person that you really necessarily want to be shoving on from the small blind against their under the gun, which is the shorter stacked straight cash homie, but recognizing that sometimes you need to make moves like that, and knowing that Sam Greenwood is gonna be having some raise folds, hands like Queen Jack suited, Ace 7 suited, stuff like that.
We haven't addressed this in a while, Griffin, so I'm happy to have the conversation. Supro Twin says, is this not a live broadcast? And can you smoke it? You nailed it. Nothing is 100% live when it's poker. Of course, any stream, whether it's a live game or an online game where you're showing all the hole cards, you can't show it 100% live because, you know, game integrity. It's as close to live as it can be. Now, obviously, we're broadcasting live. We're speaking to you in real time, but the feed we're watching, the cards up action we're seeing, is on a 30-minute delay. So it's a replayer that effectively is taking hand histories of hands that were played half an hour ago and then generating those hands as they were played out with exactly the same timings, exactly the same actions, so you can enjoy it as if it were live. But that server does not spit out those hand histories until 30 minutes has passed.
Basically, this broadcast is like a time machine into the past, as long as you don't spoil yourself. You know? It's great.
Yeah.
Pretty nice spot here for Sam Greenwood. Just deliberating now about what kind of bet he wants to make on the river to get value from an ace 4. Now, look at the positions. Is really important for all those at home. This is an under the gun raise, a defend from the big blind, a bet and a call on the flop. Daenerys is not happy with this situation. It's not as simply like, okay, I have top pair, I call. The reason why that is with ace 4, he doesn't really beat any bluffs, and now we can see, you know, straight cash homie does have the better hand, but maybe just too high up in the range where you kind of have to call with top pair. But I can understand why you really have to consider folding there. I mean, straight cash homie is not going to turn a jack into a bluff and have all the better aces. So.
Well, Greenwood with Jack 6 of spades folds.
Yeah, a bit of pause, I think, from Sam. Not because he normally would like to open a hand like this, but just having so few opportunities to raise and get involved with Elliot Pett playing so many percentages of the hands. And you got a suited hand on the button. You're just like, oh, maybe just want to try to see if I can get away with one. Might have worked.
Well, this folded to Daenerys T, who's got the snowmens.
Nom 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 nom.
And I think Dmitry Urbanovich has a bit too many chips to be shoving against an open, but it is, you know, within the realm of possibility. It's, you know, 27 big blinds. You're expecting Daenerys to raise most buttons, but does elect to just call, and I think that's the right decision.
A bit
I only
too
mentioned
many
it because
chips. I'll allow it.
What would you prefer? Bit too much chips? What do you want?
Has too many chips.
Has too many chips.
You know, English. Trip 9s now for Urbanovich.
You sound like you're from London.
London, innit? Nice one, geezer. You've no idea, Griffin. I still
Urbanovich.
Indeed, and I still
go ahead.
Still feel supremely guilty to this day that for the, what was it, 3 to 5 months that you lived literally 1.5 miles away from my house, I met up with you a grand total of 0 time.
Yeah, why didn't we ever see each other?
Because I was really bad at making it happen.
I think we had plans to see a movie once, but it didn't. It fell through, or maybe dinner or something.
Yeah.
It's okay. I always saw us more as work colleagues, I guess. I didn't see us as friends or anything.
And Dmitry Urbanovich takes that one down. Seeing Sam Greenwood at this final table, and this is not meant to be a needle, Griffin, and I'm not expecting you to be a spokesperson for the Canadian poker community, but when we look at titles won by countries during WCOOP, I am slightly surprised to see that Canada isn't higher on the rankings. We make a lot of Brazil having 21 wins, Russia with 13, the UK with 11. Now, not only does Canada have so much of its homegrown talent, but we know that Canada also has a lot of US expats who go north of the border to play these big online series. So I'm always surprised not to see Canada in the top 3.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I don't know what that is, but I will tell you that Sam Greenwood is a heck of a representative for the country of Canada, easily in the top 3, all-time tournament players, and still at the top of his game. I mean, this is the second final table that I've worked 4 days, maybe something like that so far. I've been on at least 2 of the final tables. He's in there.
So King Jack open from Urbanovic, and Smilkovic lets the ace-7 go. Great analysis from Stapesfan310. I mean, anyone with that name, of course, is always going to be delivering solid analysis. Brazil has a couple more people than Canada. To which Dihack says, yeah, Canada have like 10 people. And Stapesfan responds, and Brazil has at least 12.
Really tough for Colicia to play this spot. Going to expect a lot of isolation, blind on blind, but actually gets the free flop, and I think that's because of how pretty King 3 suited is to Elliott. Doesn't want to find himself in a situation where he raises, and gets shoved on or re-raised. This is disaster for Colicia. So under-repped by checking the flop with the jack. But a very smart check. And is going to be facing some big daddy barrels from Elliott Pett. Got a call, and this is going to be a very interesting river decision for Dmitry Urbanovic. What is the price going to be? And after making a incorrect call just a rotation or 2 ago with that Queen 10 against Daenerys, how is Dmitry going to feel about this big bet on the river? How much is it going to be? Is it going to be 600? Is it going to be 1.2 million? Goes
Huge
for the
overbet. This is that classic polarizing value bet, or is it a bluff, nuts or air type bet. And this is the kind of bet that can often induce a hero call from second pair. And he does get the call. And
just
that
perfectly sized.
Elliott back up over 15 million. Dmitry Urbanovic down to 2.9 million. We've referenced a few times, Griffin, Dimitri's live success and online success. And in addition to watching the country's leaderboard, one of the other contests we watch, which runs across all of the WCOOP series, is most number of titles win. And Dmitry Urbanovic is up there with 6 WCOOP wins. At the top of that table is a Russian player called Denis Strebkov, who's got 9 titles, won 5 of those in a single series back in 2018. As far as Urbanovic is concerned, could potentially catch Strebkov. Maybe not during this series, but maybe in a couple of years' time, and already has 1 win in the 2021 series. Took down his first no-limit hold'em title a few days ago, looking for number 2 tonight, but is one of the 2 shortest stacks right now. Okay, what do we got here? Elliott winning more chips, I guess.
What was the buy-in of the Urbanovic win?
The Urbanovic win was a 1K. It's a 1K no-limit hold'em event, which he took down for 77K. But his other
Nice.
WCOOP titles have been in deuce to 7 triple draw, No Limit Omaha high-low, horse, 8-game, 2 8-game titles. So,
Speaking of horse, there's been a horseshoe thrown and an all-in. And Smil the Hero has doubled up and really closing the gap now on Daenerys. Big pot.
And that will be the double up for Smilkovic. Yes, Lansing. Abanovic had the heads up versus the guy who should have been on a ventilator in an EPT.
What's the story there?
Abanovic's opponent at the EPT Dublin main event final table was a player called Gilles Berniers, who had this really weird... I mean, it was clearly a thing he did to control his breathing or not give away any kind of breathing tells, but involved him kind of going...
That extreme?
It was that extreme. I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating slightly, but anyone who was watching the live stream, anyone who saw the TV show of that final table, will testify that it was not a million miles away.
Urbanovic here, kind of near the bottom of his range with this 6-8, called the flop, pick up even more equity on the river, and now sitting here with just 8 high. Might need to find a bluff. But you do have some 6x and 4x's here, but goes for the big bet. And, you know, not an automatic fold here for Elliott. You know, when your opponent has something like Queen 4 of hearts, you know, Jack 6 of diamonds, 6-8 of hearts.
Yeah.
This size of bet is also pretty polarizing, but does get the fold.
I actually have a funny follow-up story to the Gilles Berniers final table, which is a year later, we ran an event in Panama. And oh, we've got Abanovic all in here with King Queen. Panama, not the easiest place to get to, Griffin. And
no?
I believe I went to Frankfurt and then from Frankfurt to Panama City. And I was on the plane. It's a Lufthansa flight from Frankfurt. And 2 rows behind me was Gilles Berniers. I was going out there to work. He was obviously going out there to play. And when you got on the plane, you do that kind of like knowing nod at someone, like you kind of know them, but not well enough to actually have the stop and chat. And of course, during the safety demonstration, when they do the whole bit about, you know, in the event of loss of pressure, please, you know, the masks will drop, please put them on and breathe normally. I couldn't help but just look behind me, and Gilles Berniers couldn't help but smile.
Oh, that's great. That's very funny. I want to see what this guy looks like here. I'm going to find him. Dmitry Urbanovic. I know what he looks like, but I'm going to go through his profile. And then it was EPT
Dublin.
2016.
2016.
2016. There it is. Oh, he's X'd out. He is unknown ventilator needing player. Okay, Smil the Hero
Results
here.
redacted.
Yeah. Smil the Hero, a pretty decent candidate to try to bluff straight cash homie off this particular hand. With that ace of diamonds, just a king is going to have a lot of trouble with this pot size bet.
I do find it mildly amusing, by the way, when people try and like redact their results in that way. Because like there was a live stream, there was a TV show that was syndicated internationally. Still on YouTube to this day.
Okay, well, how do you spell the guy's name? I want to see what he looks like. Give me a
I'll
guess.
write it in chat for you.
Sweet.
That, not being funny, you should be able to find it from that.
Says he's a musical artist.
Yes.
Then there's pictures of him playing poker. Yeah. Okay, I recognize this guy. I didn't realize he had crazy breathing, though.
I believe he was a DJ.
He looks like a DJ.
So we have got Pocket Fives versus Queen Deuce, and it's queens and deuces for straight cash homie.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Finally gets a spot on the button. You know, you're folding the Jack 6. You thought about it. You think Queen Deuce. Let's go. Let's have a go. Let's have a go. Two pair.
There is a hand from that heads-up battle. Oh, Dmitry Ivanovic with the Rockets. But yeah, there is a hand from Ivanovic's heads-up battle in that event, which, oh, interesting. Let's see how this plays out. Ultimately, Gilles tries a poorly timed bluff. That's the polite description of it. I'm sure there are some people out there who would say it was a giant punt.
Ooh.
But either way, it resulted in Dmitry Ivanovic getting a lot of his opponent's chips.
What a fold from Smil the Hero here. Not an easy thing to do. We've seen how light players can decide to shove or re-raise from the small blind in certain situations, but this ace-9 just straight up folding it.
Well, we had that situation, right, where it was Elliot and Daenerys and then the rest bunched up. Now it's Elliot and the rest. Everyone bunched up between 4 and 5 million.
Yeah. And I think that Elliot is going to start thinking about isolating these limps. Seen a lot of checkbacks, but Elliot has not proven to be someone to give a lot of rope to their opponents. It's like, listen, I checked back to King 3, you know, I was playing nice. You keep limping into me, man. I got 15 million chips over here.
Every time Elliot takes his time over a decision, though, I can't tell whether it's kind of calculated or genuine thinking or, oh no, he's got internet problems again.
I mean, I would love a good little disco session, man.
Well, I hope for his
Just
sake
saying
we
to
don't get
Joe.
one. I mean,
Just
that's
saying to Joe,
how
they're hard to
tilting can
find.
that be? How tilting can it be to have the chip lead in a 5K that you satellited into with the first prize of nearly $150,000 and your internet is all over the shop and you frequently disconnect?
Elliot had satellited, eh? Okay, wow.
Yeah. So I'm not necessarily saying there is any connection between what we were just talking about and where Elliot is playing from, but he's in Costa Rica. There's his 10 on the turn.
Well pointed out from Redalite 1904, it would be worse if he was the shortest stack. It's true.
True dat. True dat. Oh, are we going to get ourselves a race?
Yes.
Tens versus ace queen suited.
Yes, you've called about a race. Yeah, please hold. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have a race.
So Sam Greenwood, 3 bets from the small blind. It's all going in, and we're going to flip that coin. Ace and a queen on the flop. Ace on the turn, the full house for Sam Greenwood, and he doubles up. So now it's Elliot Peterman #1, Sam Greenwood #2, everyone else bunched up around the 4 to 4.5 million mark.
And that's not a good thing for Elliot. Didn't want to see that at all.
So just to be clear,
The most-
Griffin,
Yeah.
you don't want to lose flips when you're playing poker. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but also you really don't want to lose them to one of the best players in the world who is on your direct left. And that is Sam Greenwood now with over 50 big blinds. This is not what you want to see.
Blinds will be up in 6 minutes' time. We are still five-handed at the final table of WCOOP 42 High. It's the 5K 8 Max. Started last night, will conclude tonight. 4 eliminations so far from the FT. Next player out, just shy of 53K, more than 146 grand for the winner. And the WCOOP trophy.
It's a little bit of respect there, not playing every small blind.
Daniel Smilkovic opening with ace-king suited. Everyone folds. Greenwood with the button raise, king 3. Daenerys with a dominating hand, ace 3. Wooly asked a question, how many titles does Sam Greenwood have? I mean, if we're talking about WCOOP specifically, 2. Won an event in 2009 and in 2018. Also has 2 scoop titles. Has 2 super high roller wins on the EPT. Multiple high roller victories on the European Poker Tour.
Yep.
Here's a hashtag fun fact. Griffin won a high roller on the EPT, and he's still got the trophy to prove it.
I did, and I do. I always make sure it's in the wide shot here.
And we do a really good job of cropping the frame.
Bit of a coolery situation here for Coliseum. I think that on certain runouts, James, we might expect Coliseum to even lose all his chips. But with that 10 of diamonds, you know, we're not going to see a second bet from Elliot. And now I think Coliseum is just going to lose 1 street of value here. Could even throw out a little bet himself, probably in the tune of 400 to 700,000, and just min bets it, and that might open the door actually, similarly to what happened with Dmitry Urbanovich with the Queen 10, betting small on the river, and that induced a value raise with the trip 8s. Now Elliot gonna feel comfortable value raising with the Ace King. Made the wrong decision last time with the call with the Queen 10. Can Coliseum make the right decision this time?
Kind of feel that you can't call with king 6 to a raise here on that board, but...
Well, yeah, but the problem, James, is that, you know, Elliot's gonna bet the flushes on the turn, you know?
Yes.
Not gonna really check back the flushes, so you're really only repping sort of, you know, sets, 2 pairs, and big kings when you raise it. So it's tough, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, he did fold, and it's these two again, Urbanovich versus Peterman, and It's a domination situation. Jack 8 versus 10-8. And straight draws for both players. Right now, this is going to result in a chop. Griffin, we set the bar so high the other night. I kind of feel that we're doomed to fail here.
No, not like this.
Of course, this might not get to showdown.
This is going to showdown.
Oh, it does. So it will be a chop pot. And Griffin, you know what they say.
Everyone loves a chop pot. Let's see.
I think we might have nailed it,
Dude,
Griff.
we're so good. We are so... It is just... This is what I'm talking about, guys. This is why I want Joe off the case. I want his gun. I want his badge. I want him off the case. It's just James and I from now on. We chop the pots. He eats the dogs.
Oh.
Bit of a cooler here for straight cash homie. But electing to do a check raise, and I think this comes from sometimes you want to check raise these mid pairs. I know we talk about how, like, you know, don't check raise to see where you're at and lots of sort of stuff, but sometimes it's just going to play cleaner against hands like, you know, if Daenerys had ace jack, ace 10, he's just going to play a little easier. But Daenerys does have the king queen. So this is trouble.
Yeah.
For Greenwood.
Nice try, Mr. Greenwood.
I expect you to die, Mr. Greenwood.
Well, he can't because he's got more chips. However, he could do a ton more. I'd like to think the sound will slow down now. Obviously, we can see that Daenerys is never folding top two.
Yeah, and no real reason for Greenwood to continue on this card anyway. You know, you were kind of raising the flop to sort of block the action, try to fold out hands that you're, you know, ahead of currently and don't want to get barreled off. But now, easy fold.
And we are now at the 100,000, 200,000 blind level. King, Jack of diamonds. Notice that Dmitry Abanovich has dropped down to the 15 big blind mark, facing a raise here. Lets the queen deuce go.
Inching towards that danger zone, James.
Danger zone!
I'm surprised we don't have a danger zone animation, but maybe that's there's ownership of
But if
that
we had the animation, then
expression.
Joe wouldn't get to do it. And I under very strict orders to not take away what little material he has. Well, playing at a fast pace.
Yeah, and now you're sitting with 16 big blinds at the cutoff. How do you want to play ace-8? Colicia decides to go with the minuscule raise.
keeping his head above water. Okay, ace-jack versus sevens. How's this going to play out? We see Elliot Peterman open to 440 with the sevens. Daenerys, ace-jack in the small.
Yeah, I was going to say a shove seems kind of likely. Just going to get so many folds, and you don't want to 3-bet fold such a strong hand here. You don't always want to be shoving in 29 bigs, but, you know, when you're against the chip leader, and the reason why we see a fold, even though you're sitting there with those sevens and you think, oh, that could be ahead, could be flipping, you know, it's because Daenerys doesn't really shove 6s and 5s so indiscriminately like that, just blast it in for the 30 bigs. So you're up against a lot of 8s, 9s, 10s, and then the hands you're flipping against like ace jack, ace 10 suited, ace queen plus.
Likely to be raise and take it for Smilkovic on the button.
Raichu 2 is saying Minish and Coolery are made up words. Well, you know what? Raichu is a Pokemon, and those are made up. Right? We're all playing the same game here, man. We're making up words. We're making up Pokemon. Huh?
Yeah, that's an interesting analogy, Griffin. I'm not sure it works, but I'll let you have it.
Come on, you're supposed to be on my side, James.
I'll be on your side when you make logical arguments. Don't worry.
Hey, McMurphy's mind is blown. Oh, now he's just attacking me. True enough, man. But at least I learned my grammar in school. Yeah, what? Pokemon school? I'm done.
Griffin, I'm just going to say one thing. What's the point in learning grammar if you're not able to use it? You're banned.
Can I be honest to everyone? I had the little outburst because I love it when James defends me. When it protects me. He gets the little banhammer out. Daddy knows best. Elliot Pett with the 5 high might start trying to win this pot. 1.3 million out there. So this did go as a raise call pre, but checks because on the flop, because, you know, you're expecting your opponent there maybe to be on base there, but after getting a check back very intelligently, that's a word. That's the turn and takes it down.
A6 versus A6. Button raise from Elliot Peterman.
And you know what they say?
Daenerys, however, decides to re-raise to 1.6 million, and that's going to spoil Griffin's chop pot fun.
There's just never... there's just no scenario now where it can be a chopped pot. Chop. Ooh, sorry. Oh my gosh. I did not need to throw that PED on there.
Griffin, I think I'm right in saying that we have been playing for more than an hour now, 5-handed. It was, I want to say, yeah, just over an hour ago that Crazy Lissy went out in 6th place. So we have been without an elimination for an extended period of time.
Well, you know, I got to be honest, James. There's something that everyone needs to know. When I go on my little breaks, which are, you know, very rare, I want a little 4-minute break there for the interview with the great gentleman. I crank it, you know. I'm trying to get things rolling here. When Joe goes on his breaks, he cranks it. You have 3-course meals and you come back to no eliminations. Take some responsibility.
Do you know what? I can't disagree with that analysis.
Yep. Every crazy squirrel finds a nut eventually. And I nailed it. Daenerys opening the king 10. Smil the hero going to have that ace queen with the 21 bigs and feel very comfortable shoving it in there.
Baby, you're a firework.
Coliseum now 16 bigs with the queen 10 suited. It's got to go. It's got to go, Dimitri. All of it, baby. You want to min race fold this pretty hand? You're in last. Come on. Just about everything. Now, though, with 18 big blinds, James, might be a bit too many chips with the slightly stronger king 10 suited, but does like to shove it anyway. So, you know, maybe it's getting cranked back there, getting warmed up, seeing some more all-ins. The blinds, of course, are going up, which usually helps see a little more action. I don't think Daenerys is going to get too cheeky with this ace-4. That's something that's, you know, you really notice at these high-stakes levels is really selective aggression. But then just when you think they might tiptoe over the line, we saw Daenerys with the ace-6 a few hands ago, a couple hands earlier with some really aggressive re-raising. But that one thought about it for a second, said no. And opponent had ace-queen.
Okay, Greenwood with ace-10 opens, and Dmitry Ivanovic, ace-king of spades.
I think fortunately for Greenwood, hand is a bit too weak to consider calling a 20 big blind shove. I think ace-jack suited, ace-jack off would be a bit more difficult to let go in this 5-handed action. Oof.
Not going to be letting queens go. As Ivanovic raises king 10 on the button. Three bet and a fold. We're entering another era of rare flops. King 7 versus Jack 5. Boom, we get a flop. And it's king high. Not much for Daenerys.
And you can see Sam Greenwood allowing Daenerys to potentially catch up, whether that would be a jack on the turn, a 4 or a 6 or a 5, give it a little equity. You don't always need to bet your top pairs when you limp in the small blind, because they don't always have those bottom and mid pairs. Sometimes you want to let them get a little piece.
Well, Griffin, let's give the people what they want. Let's get Maria Ho inside the PokerStars arena and go three-way in the booth. Maria, how are you this evening?
Hello, guys.
How's it going, Maria?
It's going pretty good. It looks like Straight Homie wants to make it a big pot right now with the King 4 suited.
And why not?
Yeah. Pretty tough spot as the under the gun aggressor here for Coliseum, and that's why we see a fold. You know, you're really dominated by the actual value range, so bit of a tight fold, surely, but you're in that spot and you're just like, don't like it.
Well, we've got King 4 opening here. We've got the Snowmen's for Sam Greenwood.
Nom 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 nom.
Interesting decision to elect to 3-bet here. Kind of like it. Plays a bit cleaner. Doesn't allow for some back shoves without strength. Go ahead, James.
Stuck in my box in the PokerStars arena is there's no vegetation here, and I'm seeing you with your vine, Griffin, you with your plant, Maria. You're making me jealous. You guys surrounded by nature.
Damn right.
I thought you like to take your walks and stuff, James. Don't you see nature on your walks around the neighborhood?
Around this arena, no, nothing other than parking lots, vendors, concession stands, and obviously the hard-working people who have to clear up all of the litter every single night. Some of it left by the spectators, but most of it left by the players.
And would you look at that? River card all coming up Elliott right now. Smill the Hero electing not to bet this turn card. And now getting that. Oof.
Just for your ride, Maria, we were saying that they have been five-handed now for 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, I feel like around this time yesterday, the final table we were covering was down to heads up. So certainly seems like people have been hanging around.
Right now, both Dmitry Banovich and Daniel Smilkovic tied for last place with 3.2 million each.
Ooh, that is an action turn card. Giving 2-pair to Elliott Pett, but the nut flush draw with that pair of 3s for Daenerys. Gotta expect to see a pretty big bet here. This is going to be real interesting.
McMurphy, I don't think your question is stupid, and I'm going to ask it to Griffin and Maria after this hand.
Tough brick on the end there, but can't imagine Elliott doing much more than just putting all the chips in the middle, given the size of the pot.
So McMurphy's question, which they preface with maybe a stupid question, why does 8 max exist? It's only one less player. Does that change the dynamics that much? Maria, what is the appeal of 8 max versus 9-handed poker?
To be honest, I think all tournaments should be 8 max. I feel like that should just be the standard tournament. I think that generally speaking, obviously people think of official shorthanded as being 6 or less, but certainly with one less player, there is going to be a little bit opening up and widening of ranges. But also, I just think that in general, when you talk about, I think, modern day poker and where it's gone and where strategy has evolved, I feel like 8-handed seems like the perfect amount of players to have.
Griffin,
well said.
Do you agree or disagree?
Sorry, I agree absolutely, wholeheartedly. Yeah. I remember actually there was EPT Monte Carlo many years ago where the tournament ended up 10-handed, and I wrote an email to PokerStars and EPT and actually got a good response from it and stuff, and it's sort of moved towards 9-handed than 8-handed, and it's just you want to play with less players, especially live too when you're all crunched up together, and there's just more interesting dynamics. You're playing against players, you can play more hands from different positions. It's just great.
Griffin, did your email sound something like this? Dear PokerStars, I was forced to play 10-handed poker. It is unacceptable.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounded like. It started with Dear PokerStars, of course.
And obviously, of course, when you're talking about live versus online, you're going to see more hands during that time. I think online, that time is a little bit more mitigated, but it's still important, especially when we know that you can go, an hour and really see, I don't know, like 25 hands sometimes at a really slow table live.
Well, the good news is, Maria, Joe's been looking into it. However, he has come back to say, we can't do it. We can't make every single WCOOP event 8 max. We just don't have the space in the PokerStars arena to accommodate that.
Fair enough. Getting a little shovey here. Expect to see another one here with these 16 big blinds from Daenerys.
And I noticed that a little bit of distance has opened up now between Smilkovic and Abanovic. Dimitri now playing 12 big blinds. And ace-queen for Daenerys. Jack-5 of diamonds for our chip leader, Elliot Peterman. Oh, top pair versus second pair.
Might get messy depending on the run out here.
Oh, diamond!
Daenerys' check back here on the Queen Jack 4 certainly did have trappy design. Now with the king on the turn, I think you still feel too good about the strength of your hand not to go for value, but it's the one card in the deck you didn't want to see. Ooh.
Oh.
And check to showdown, and Elliot now up to 17.5 million. Now we find Daenerys in the danger zone alongside Dmitry Abanovic.
And all the more reason for Elliot to attack Straight Cash Homie's 35 big blind stack. And just such an opportunity to keep chipping everyone down, getting closer to that 20 million mark, and now finally a big cooler.
Oh, yes, this is definitely coolery. Abanovic with ace-queen and that short stack. Re-raises. When it gets back around to Smilkovic, expect the all-in and the call, and Dmitry Abanovic is going to need to get lucky. We're going to need to see domination rotation, or we will be down to 4. Wheel draw, nope. That will do it for Colossia. Dmitry Abanovic will not be winning his 7th WCOOP title this evening, cashes out in 5th place for nearly $53,000. Everyone now guaranteed 68K.
And if people
Elliot
out there were
Peterman
wondering,
putting a lot of distance between himself and the rest of the field.
And people say that Stapes doesn't do anything on his breaks, right? But that's proof right there that he was busy.
Yeah. Cranking it.
I'm not sure about the cranking. One thing I do know Joe likes to do on his break is get his hands on a sausage. Cranking option.
Daenerys needs to find a min here as opposed to a shove, and does on the 13 big blinds. That is going to save them from an potential elimination against the ace-king of Straight Cash Homie.
Eight, 7, all in, and a fold from Daenerys. coming towards the end of this session. An hour of poker that's only seen the one elimination. Colossia out in 5th. Seen Elliot Peterman extend his chip lead at this now 4-handed final table. Ace-8 raises, and we're going to see 1 and 2 folds from the blinds. Yeah. So that's going to take us to the break, and at this point we're going to say goodbye, Griffin. We will see you next week, sir.
That was great. See you next week, everyone. Bye.
The unicorn is out of here, but Maria is staying with us as we go on break from the high and go across to the medium. So, highlights of what happened in the $530 Super Tuesday Special Edition during the last 50 or so minutes. We are still at Table Tremsin. This is Gleb Tremsin, Tio. And we've also got Jerry O'Dean, Perry Mason, who won last night's 2K, and we spoke to Jerry a couple of hours ago on the stream.
Yeah, no days off, even for WCOOP winners.
Well, King's way ahead here, and Gleb Tremsin up over 12 million. Not sure if Gleb is still the tournament chip leader, but certainly has a sizable table chip lead here, Maria.
Yeah, it's pretty nice to have that big of a stack right now. You just get to put a lot of pressure on all of your opponents and not really have much to worry about.
Three-way to this flop. Talking to Jerry earlier on, it was just great to see someone so genuinely happy, so genuinely positive about their result, and really kind of, you know, of course it's about the money, but also just having that accomplishment, saying he's been playing WCOOP for 7 years, his first title, his first trophy.
Yeah, and sometimes as poker players, you know, we get jaded a little bit and we kind of lose sight of that we get when we win a big tournament. And so it is nice to see someone who's been grinding for so long just feel like they got that monkey off their back, because a WCOOP is a WCOOP. Scoop titles he has, but, you know, this one is going to be special for sure.
So ace high still the best hand on this 5-5-4-3 board. And Gleb Tremsin rivers top pair. Barry Greenstein makes an appearance. The ace on the river.
Yeah, King High still has some showdown value and checks it over.
$570 into 1.3 million. Just King High for Jerry O'Dean.
Just considering if there's any chance that this hand could be good, but decides that it's not.
Yeah. Action folded to Jerry. Raises with Queen 9. Greg Zorba folds the bag. Okay, I see a potential confrontation here. Gleb Tremsin opening with jacks and Shingham in the big blind with ace-jack.
Yeah, you know, they're playing seven-handed and you've got somebody with a monster chip stack opening. I think ace-jack looks good enough to shove off of that stack size.
And no ace, that will be a KO, and more chips for Gleb Trems in that table breaking as we come back from break in the high. This is the 5K 8 max where we are four-handed at the final table. Elliot Peterman start of day chip lead and now has 91 big blinds. We've got the two middling stacks of Sam Greenwood and Daniel Smilkovic and the short stack of Daenerys T, just 11 big blinds as we come back and welcome Joe Stapleton back into the mix.
Hello, my babies.
Hello.
Oh, man. Belly full of hot dogs and hard-boiled eggs, ready to protein my way out of this.
Oh, that sounds like
good thing you're on the other side of the arena from me, right, James?
Absolutely.
Elliot Pett taking the initiative. Getting a little aggressive with Queen 9 offsuit. And also getting shoved on. Folds. Four-handed, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I know I just joined, but it does feel like this could still go on for a while, Stapes. I mean, Elliot does have a pretty massive chip lead, but obviously effective stack sizes are fairly deep.
I would be surprised if we didn't see Smell the Hero. Pretty tough spot, though, I guess. There's the call. Elliot folds the ace tray. Tens holding, but manages to avoid the straight. And there goes Daenerys T. Was the short stack. 11 big blinds coming back after the break. Out in fourth for $68,165. We are down to three. Everyone now guaranteed 88,000, and a big flop here for Sam, who has battled back from having just a couple of big blinds. Was the short stack early on today, was the short stack later on today. Now is technically the short stack again, but has done a fantastic job of treading water last few hours.
Absolutely, and now playing close to 7.4 million.
And it was definitely helpful that in that long five-handed configuration, Sam did have position on the chip leader because it gives you a lot more openings to know which spots to take.
Yeah, so of the final three players, we've got Sam Greenwood, who's got 2 WCOOP titles. Daniel Smilkovic has had some deep runs, has had a 12th place finish this series, a 4th place finish this series, but doesn't have a WCOOP win yet. 2 scoops, no WCOOP. And the same is true for Elliot Peterman. Does not have a WCOOP title. And a reminder that Elliot, who still holds the chip lead right now, satellited into this event for 1K.
I got a real problem with Elliot Peterman. His screen name is either Elliot's Pet, and his name is Elliot Peterman, or his name is Elliot Peterman, and his screen name is Elliot Pete. Not the way we have it configured.
Just call him Elliot.
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't feel like as big of a problem as you're making it out to be. But
I was going to say, simple solutions to really irrelevant problems. That's my speciality.
like, you know how there's first world problems? Like, what kind of problem is that? Like, what do we even classify that?
I don't know. One of us cares about being accurate. One of us cares about doing a good job. And that person is James.
Didn't he become Elliot Peterson at some point this evening?
I might have said Peterson at one point, yeah. Odell, Peterson, you know, whatever. You know who I'm talking about. It's right there.
How about from now on we just agree? that any player where we don't actually know their real identity is Gary Turnbuckle.
Yeah, definitely. We got to give people the turnbuckle treatment. Man, King Jack's really a hand that gets super sexy when it's suited and is like pretty unattractive offsuit.
Yeah, especially
Kinda
when
like
you're
me, I guess.
shorthanded.
Yeah, shorthanded, obviously. Everything's all out of whack. Shorthanded's kind of like last call, right? Like everything's looking a little bit better.
Don't get me started on poker goggles because maybe like the third or fourth year of being in poker and being around the same people all the time, I'm like, people get more attractive.
Eventually, I would have worn you down, Maria. I would have worn you down. Once things got shorthanded.
So wrong.
One of the first articles I ever wrote in my poker media career was for a magazine, now defunct, like most of the projects I've worked on. It was called Card Player College. And it was a article about poker beer goggles, about how you shouldn't drink at the table because your hands start looking better to you.
Sage advice, which I guarantee you have never followed.
Well, there was one rule that I remember distinctly, which is when you're thinking about playing Jack Deuce, that means it's time to go home. Same as if you're at a bar and you're thinking about talking to a jacked up deuce, something like that. I do remember, and I do follow that one. When I start wanting to play Jack Deuce, I'm like, I've had enough for the day. Thank you.
Yeah.
Speaking of deuces.
Blinds up 125,000, 250,000. And Elliot with near enough a 2-1 chip lead over Daniel Smilkovic. Sam Green with the shortest stack at this three-handed final table. Watch as 9-6 works its magic.
I don't know.
Wow.
Even with 18 million chips against Sam Greenwood, I don't know.
Yeah, this
Second
king
barrel.
high, especially with the check back.
Second barrel get the job done.
Yeah, when Sam checks the king jack pre, I think there's not too many boards that are going to fold to that look similar to this.
Don't worry,
Big
Elliot.
second barrel, though.
He's going to fold now. He's going to fold the turn. 100% he's going to fold the turn. Oh, don't worry, Elliot. You're going to get there. You're going to get there. You're going to bink your 6.
The classic bet when you're behind, but check when you get there.
Oh, that is
So
pretty
annoying.
gross.
Hit
It
him with
will
something. Shoot
see-
something at him.
It will see Elliot Peterman move up to nearly 20 million chips and continue to put the pressure on.
That's the kind of hand that makes me want to flip my table over. Sam Greenwood played it so well. Just kidding.
Pocket 6s versus ace 10. And it's a re-raise from Smilkovic. Elliot Peterman can fold the 9-6. And how is Sam going to respond with his small pocket pair?
You know, for Smil, obviously, they know that Sam will have some raise folds here from the button, and ace 10 is a pretty good hand, three-handed. And for Sam, wow, just the call. Very interesting to take it to the flop here in position, and not a bad flop for sixes if they were hoping not to see, you know, big cards come out on the flop. And sure, Smil can have some traps when they play it like this, but it does look a little bit like these type of ace, king, ace, queen, ace, jack, ace 10 overcard hands. And with that check back, will be interesting to see what Smil
Nobody
does
really
right
says
now.
your hands kind of face up right now. Remember people used to say that all the time?
Yeah.
Nobody really says that anymore. Kind of tough. Your ranges are face up right now. Your ranges are
Joe,
very
you're the
clear.
you're the king of bringing stuff back in the same way that we're reinvigorating all of the kind of stupid, dumb names for certain hole cards. You know, we've got to start going to the well and making classic poker expressions trendy again.
No new stuff, just reboots. Reboots
I think
and
once
sequels.
people, I think once people understood the importance of being balanced with your ranges, it's a lot harder to say that somebody's hand is face up these days. But that doesn't mean that there aren't cases where that feels a little bit more clarified.
We got the snowmans.
Nom 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 nom.
Be face up if you ask me. Let's raise them out from that position.
6 of hearts for straight cash homie. Sam Greenwood makes a committing re-raise, and it's all going in.
Heart
6. No, 8's hold, and that's it. Sam Greenwood's out. Straight cash homie eliminated in third place for 88 grand. 6-figure scores locked up for both Elliot and Daniel Smilkovic, and a huge chip lead for Elliot Peterman. 26 million plays 7.2 million as they go heads up.
I liked how Spill the Hero just straight up was like, I'm going to read some intonation in it. You know, we don't get to say GL, but it's. I think it's kind of like the good luck from Taken. He's like, good luck. Because he knows. He's like, I don't care if you've out-chipped me.
Ooh.
3.5 to 1. Good luck to you,
Deuces
sir.
here for Smilkovic as Elliot bets with ace high. Check raise.
Yeah, going for the fast play, but ace high can't really go anywhere. Yeah, I mean, I think when you bet there, if you think that there's a chance that your opponent is going to have some semi-bluff, some, you know, like 9-8 suited with a backdoor type situation.
Quads! Four of a kind!
Ooh, and trying to be real sneaky, doesn't get the bet from Elliot, though.
That is a great omen to kick off heads up, making quads on the very first hand.
Yeah. Now, the expression, ladies and gentlemen, is hashtag death by quads, but it involves a player being eliminated by their opponent having quads. There is no elimination there. Therefore, it does not apply. We do have the flush draw here as Elliot check raises with hearts. It is top for Daniel Smilkovic. And that 8 is still good right now.
Is this going to be every hand a heads up? Just fantastic action boards, top pair versus flush draw, ace queen.
To use Griffin's vocabulary, it has been quite coolery so far.
I mean, Joe doesn't even have a free hand right now. He's so busy.
I think you overestimate the size of my crank. One hand is plenty. She thinks I'm cranky with both hands right now, James, because the coolers are going out, and I'm just saying that a second hand couldn't even fit.
But I also see the narrowing of James's eyes. Wow,
Bluffs
just gets
him off it on the river. And now it's Jack 8 versus 8-3.
Ooh, and we're getting frisky.
try to recoup the lost chips from the hand before.
Yeah. Domination rotation as Smilkovic pairs his 3. With Elliot Peterman betting.
Yeah, this is...
And Smilkovic still favourite with the ace on the turn. 93% equity. And if this gets to showdown, Smilkovic is going to win the pot.
Smell like you mean it.
Smill, considering turning this hand into a bluff, would hate to see their opponent show up with, you know, a 7x type hand or a smaller pair.
Still,
do some analysis on that.
A huge advantage for Elliot Peterman, raising the button here with Queen 8. Daniel Smilkovic re-raises with King 5. And Peterman folds. It is 25 million playing 8.5 million. Queen 5 calls, 7-5 checks. Queen high flop.
Yeah, a small sample thus far, but it does feel like Smill is trying to take a more aggressive route, especially pre-flop, considering their stack size, feeling like maybe if they can get away with a couple of these light re-raises, that they're going to be able to get to that 35, 40 big blind threshold and have a little more post-flop playability.
I think that's a mistake. I think they should tighten up and try to ladder.
Well, what was 4s and deuces is now 4s and 5s. And Elliot's going to win this one. Check to showdown. (10-4) Queen deuce. Pair of 4s for Daniel. That's 250,000. Gets a fold.
Miller's crossing.
We've got artisanal sourdough.
Ooh, sourdough suited. Artisanal.
Raises, gets a fold. And 10s versus ace 9 suited. The raise from Peterman.
Yeah, about 30 bigs effective to start. So obviously clear all in pre-hand for the 10s. What will ace 9 do against this re-raise?
3-bet is to 2.1 million. Peterman does not want to disconnect now. All in and a call, and here we go. 10s holding. Ace on the turn.
Ooh.
And that will seal the deal for Elliot Peterman as he takes down this 5K 8-max event and wins his first WCOOP title and trophy. Satellited in for $1,000 and cashes out for $146,931. Daniel Smilkovic, the runner-up, for $113,744.
Another WCOOP in the books and another first-time winner. This victory going to Costa Rica. That was a very aggressive, fast, and exciting heads-up battle, Maria.
Yeah, I feel like I got in here and got settled in just for everything to pop off, but it looks like a lot of the play happened when it was, 5, 6, 7 handed, but heads up, it was pretty clear just by the hands that the chips were going to go in.
As far as live streaming is concerned, Joe, we're done for the week, but we have got the podcast tomorrow, and I know that when we record that show and release it on Friday, you're going to explain why you might not be as across our coverage next week as you would normally be.
Yeah, I don't know how I'm going to be able to pull off being even less attentive and interesting than I usually am, but I'm going to be very tired, and tune into this week's podcast to find out why.
New episode of Poker in the Ear is out on Friday. Our next stream is on Monday. In week 3 of WCOOP, it starts on Sunday with a $10,000 buy-in progressive knockout event. It concludes on the Monday, and that's when we're going to stream the final table. Monday, September 6th, 1:30 Eastern, 6:30 UK time, 7:30 Central European Summer Time. So join us next week, and of course, over the course of the next few days, you can watch all of the stream team grinding their way through the WCOOP schedule. Thanks for joining us this evening from Griffin Benja, Maria Ho, Joe Stapleton, and me, James Hartigan. It's good night from the PokerStars Arena.